pop crowd. They pop corn. They pop culture. It's the Lowdown.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the latest installment of the Lowdown Popcast. I am the voice of PCW and the voice of Demons Football, Elliot Popston. To my right is the founder of the hottest wrestling promotion in the Mid-Atlantic, owner and agent of Flyer Float Travel, where you can book your dream getaway at flyerfloattravel.com. Host of the Shane event, can sell ice to an Eskimo, New York's greatest export, Shane Dorr.
What's going on, man?
What is up, Shane? Man, I'm excited about today's show. But before we get to that, to our left, six-time fantasy football champion, podcast enthusiast, soon to be Kevin Nash's favorite podcaster. Just like his favorite wrestler, he's been known to outwork everyone, although some may argue he just works everyone, with his self-proclaimed hottest Funko Pop collection. Not your average wrestling mark, Handbook, Johnathan Winburn.
Oh man, I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're able to make it too. I know you weren't feeling too hot earlier, but glad you're here. Was that did I just like hiccup or something?
You know it, bro.
Yeah, I'm here. Good spirits, but not feeling the greatest. So,
well,
good spirits in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the spread, that's for sure.
I want to take care of my people.
My people.
That's what I do.
I did it for the Rock. I did it for the people.
Hey, Johnathan, how am I doing on my way to your Funko Pop collection? How many short am I?
I don't see no Funko Pops,
They're made by Funko.
but they're not Pops.
True.
What are they, like mini pops? Dirty pop? Doom, doom.
They're Funko Minis. I don't know what
Funko Minis.
I was the one that bought them, but I didn't even know they were made by Funko until after I already decided I was getting, or had messaged Shane to see if he wanted them. And then I just happened to see that they were made by Funko.
How many Funko Pops do you have?
Ooh, that was a tough question because I haven't really updated my numbers in a while, but like 4,500.
Whoa!
So my like the Funko has an app that you can like scan the barcode and it adds it to the collection. So that says I have 427. But there's
Where do you put these?
probably 6 months worth that I haven't added that I gotta scan and add in.
Wow.
Are they on display?
Yeah.
All of them?
Not all of them.
Okay.
I am running out of room. I gotta reconfigure some things.
Recomputing.
That's pretty cool, though.
I want to see.
I have like a whole section, like 8-foot section of a wall that I wasn't really using. So I went and bought they fit just perfect, but I went and bought like shadow boxes or like baseball bat display boxes, and the pops fit in there like the right height. So I have them sitting on top of the baseball bat display and then inside of the display, and they're kind of staggered all the way down the wall. So I have like
are they
20.
separated via like maybe Marvel and DC or show or whatever? Are they in order, some sort of order?
Yeah, I try to put them that way.
Alphabetical.
No, I have like, the problem was when I started, they're more popular now than when they weren't when I first started collecting them, but I was trying to get like all the Batman ones. Well, I have like 45 Batman Pops, different styles and costumes, but there's probably like 200 Batman Pops out there.
So I mean, you got a
I
little
had
bit
to stop at some point.
You got a little bit of Carney in you, so like, which is a good thing, especially people in the wrestling business or wrestling fans. You got to have a little bit of Carney in you to be successful. So, what's been your biggest steal as far as it goes in the Funko Pop collection? Because I know you're looking to get the best one at the best price, right? It's just like it's like a success to do so. So, what's been your biggest steal? So
it really just started as a collection of which ones I wanted, which ones I thought would be kind of cool to display in the house, or like like you said, like I kind of wanted to start and just get all the Marvel ones or something, but it just kind of turned in. They make them for everything. I mean, anything you can think of. So then I just started buying any one that I thought would be worth some money or that I thought was cool. But I did come across one major steal. I bought it for $15 because they somebody thought it was wasn't anything special, that because it was a metallic one that just kind of had a sticker on it, but they only made 144, and
But you knew it was special.
So I saw it on the post, and I was like, I didn't know how much it was worth. I just knew I'd seen the sticker before, so I kind of knew where it was from, and I was just curious as to how much they were selling it for. So I asked, and they're like, "Oh, it's over there with the regular pops. It's, something like she was like $15." And I was like, I'll just get. I didn't I didn't know how much it was worth. It was just kind of one of those things where I was like, well, I mean, a pop by itself costs $10. I was like, I mean, I'll spend 15. I'll gamble that $5 that is,
how about I give you 20?
What I'm thinking it is. So I bought it, cool, calm, and collected in the store, got out to the car, and immediately, checked out the box, the serial number, everything I could think of to see if it was fake or what it was. Well, it's worth about $1,500. So,
well,
yeah,
and that's the name of the game, folks.
We need to get some Funko Popcasts.
That was very clever of you. I will give you credit for that. That was a good one.
Needless to say, that one is not on display in my collection.
Can you make your own?
You can make your own.
There's ways. Yeah, I think.
We need to make our own hosts.
I
might have to we might have to fly to California for that. That's where Funko's. I think it's California. That's where they're headquartered.
Road trip. You can do it through a website. Road trip. I'm flying, bro. I ain't that.
I'm not. I don't mean like taking the road. I say road trip just mean we're going somewhere.
Oh, okay.
I'm not getting in a car.
Well, road trip means you get in a car.
Fly trip. Air trip.
Yeah, I would be completely down to do a road trip, but I don't know about doing a road trip just to go to with the intent of just going to California, because that drive back from New York was actually not that long compared to how long it would take to get to California, and I was so ready to be out of the car.
Yeah, that was fun.
Good
times.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Fly and not drive.
It's a short flight.
To where?
California. 6 hours.
Yes, I mean, I've been on longer flights. So.
Yeah. Hawaii's a long flight.
Yeah. Also went from Georgia to Amsterdam. That one was
13, 14 hours?
About 14, I think.
I am planning on flying to California and then cruising to Hawaii. Doing the islands and going back. But anyhow, that's in my flyer float world.
But yeah, the Funko Pop is not on display. It's
hidden
in my safe.
Now, those things are only appreciating. Do they ever depreciate?
I know they just some of them do. I mean, I've had some that are I might buy it for 10 and it's worth 50, and then a couple months go by and they realize how many are out there. They're still available to buy, so the price goes back down. Some aren't even worth the 10 I paid. Just.
Do you ever have any intention of hustling them?
I didn't when I started collecting them. I mean, I really just bought the one that's worth $1,500 because I knew I had a strong feeling it was worth some money. It was not one that I would have necessarily cared about having.
I'm just like
he does now.
I'm like one of those weirdos, man. Like everything's for sale except my soul. So I was like,
but I do see some. Like there's somewhere I'm like if I'm out shopping and I see it, where if I know, like that one's probably hard to find, or like Target's a big one. Nowadays it's not so much, but the old Target exclusives were very hard to come by. I mean, you had people. I know people that work in Target, and they were like, there'd be people waiting hours before we opened just to come in to get it. Whatever day it was supposed to release, so they would jack up the price. Like there was a Batman one that looked pretty cool that I wanted, and it came out, and within like a couple weeks, it was worth like $250 because there wasn't that many released, and they were hard to come by. But nowadays, it's not
price gouging, bro.
Not that bad. But if I see one where I know it's gonna have the intention, has a chance to be worth some money, I'll usually buy it.
I don't know.
It's an easy I guess investment. I mean, $10 isn't like breaking the bank, for something. It's not like I'm spending $100 or $200 on like a statue or something, collectible statue.
Well, so. to that point, what's the most expensive one you ever bought?
Well, you know that story too, because I was with you when I got it.
Oh, is that the one where I was like, "Hey, get it, Johnathan. You gotta get it."
Yeah. So they have a black light, like Marvel collection, where they're all they all glow on a black light, and I think it would be cool for a display. So I was trying to collect them all, and there was one of the first ones that come out I had missed, and we were at a Comic-Con convention working, and there was a guy that had it for sale, and I think he wanted like $300 for it. I was like, I can't spend that much on one pop. I kept going back throughout the day, and then I was like, I waited till it was time to go, and I went back, and I think he dropped it down to like $250. I'd already decided I wasn't going to buy it, but then he said $250, and I was like,
That's a lot.
it was a lot,
It's almost a car payment.
but I did buy it,
You did.
and I did take it out the box.
Oh.
Which was hard to do. I kept it in the box for a little while because I was like, well, I spent that much. But then I was like, I spent that much because I was planning on displaying it along with the other ones. If I'm not going to take it out of the box, all the other ones were out the box. So
It's like the modern day Hess trucks. Remember those?
But I keep the boxes. So, I mean, if I ever need to put them back in there.
Hess trucks.
Pristine condition.
I think I have 70 of those things at my house in New York. Hess trucks. Got them for my birthday, Christmas.
Asher's got a little Hess truck.
Dude, they've been
Couple.
around forever, man.
Yeah.
90s, since the early 90s.
Yep. Hess gas station. We had one in Hemingway, South Carolina.
They were big up north, man. We loved them.
Old Hess station.
I don't know if there any in existence anymore. Maybe a couple.
I think there's a few. Everything was big up north because I didn't even know what Sheetz or Wawa was until we went up north the first time.
Those are both game changers in their own right. Both.
Buc-ee's is still my.
Buc-ee's. Well, Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's is different.
Buc-ee's
Oh, you best believe it's different.
Buc-ee's is more upscale. I mean, I don't know. like it's more gourmet, in my opinion. Like,
It's the Target version.
you got to go higher than that.
Well, I wouldn't even compare. I mean, Buc-ee's, it is a gas station, I guess, but I mean, it's
120 pumps.
It's so gigantic. It's just you just can't even compare it.
It's like a Walmart.
If Target and Sheetz had a baby,
See, I think Buc-ee's is better than Target. What's one up from Target?
well, that's because they had a baby. That's
Target is one. I mean, the Target's one up from Walmart.
yeah, Walmart or Target.
All right, so what's above Target? Belk?
What is above Target? No, not Belk.
Belk? I don't know.
No.
Burlington?
That'd be a negative.
No.
Sam's Club.
We can tell Shane doesn't do
Costco.
shopping.
I try not to.
Is it Costco?
No, I don't like Costco. I don't know. There's got to be something above a Belk. Bed Bath & Beyond.
Completely different type of store.
Oh, whatever. Still higher end. Bed, bath. What movie's that?
Beyond.
Yeah. It's a click.
Well,
Far beyond, isn't that what the sign says? Or something? The way beyond.
Way beyond.
so guys, we got a lot of stuff to talk about on today's show. But before we do, this first part of the show is brought to you by Day Soul Coffee Lab out of Birmingham, Alabama. Guys, if you want some great coffee, I highly recommend going over to www.daysoulcoffeelab.co and ordering your coffee today. They have the absolute best coffee, and you can use a promo code LOWDOWN to get 20% off right now for a limited time. That promo will end on 12/1. So, guys, take advantage of this 20% off right now. They'll deliver it straight to your door. They even have a monthly subscription option. So head on over to daysoulcoffeelab.co. Get the world's best coffee. They have a special holiday blend out now. My favorite is the Barrel Reserve. They still have going on. It's just a seasonal thing for that one, though. Gratitude Blend, Odyssey Blend. They also have a Kenya Roast that they just came out with. So head on over, guys. Get your coffee, and I promise you'll enjoy it. Day Soul Coffee Lab out of Birmingham, Alabama. Highly recommended. But, man, guys, big week. Starting, if we go back to Saturday and going to even this coming weekend, big weekend of wrestling. We had AEW Full Gear. We had a lot of stuff happened there. A lot of title changes, surprisingly. One I think that was rather expected. Some that didn't happen that were expected. So I unfortunately didn't get to catch the show because I was in Clemson, God's country. We'll get to that later. Took my son to his first Clemson game.
How was that? Did he enjoy it?
Oh man, he
I
absolutely
know we'll
loved
talk
it.
about it more shortly, but
Yeah,
I haven't got a chance to talk to you since you went.
absolutely loved it. Man, there's nothing like Clemson in my eyes. It's just, let me. Well, we'll get to that later.
Well, we know you can't see that well.
Well, no, I can see great. My vision is much better than yours.
I don't know.
Ding, ding, ding.
But anywho, we have AEW Full Gear kicked off the night with Luchasaurus versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Well, let's talk about the pre-show first.
There's
pre-show
matches.
Yeah, let's hit the pre-show.
There was a lot of talent on the pre-show.
I was gonna say Shane will have to cover the first couple of matches because I missed I think the first 2 matches of the pre-show.
So you had the Best Friends and Roppongi, or Best Friends Roppongi Vice, whatever you want to call them, with Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Trent, and Rocky Romero, and a very nice, very evil mystery tag team partner against my mind's going blank.
The Factory.
The Factory.
Yeah, it was a very basic match. I'd probably give it a C plus. Very spot heavy, of course, but I mean the key point to this match was the reemergence of Danhausen, but as very evil.
And honestly,
it was so amazing, man.
I did go back. I went back, watched his entrance, and I watched him in the ring. So you're able to watch the on YouTube. You're able to go back and watch the pre-show kickoff. So I did that today.
So different.
Man, I was so glad to see him that way.
Came out with a little jar of teeth,
a little bit of blood
like
dripping
a vampire.
from his,
and it was just incredible. Completely different. He cracked.
Different music too.
Different music.
Yep.
He cracked in the ring. They cracked when they did the best friends hug.
Yep.
He laughed. He broke. It was hilarious, but it's funny to see. But I'm looking forward to see what they do with the character now, because it's I'm hoping they sustain it and they keep it. I hope they don't revert it, go back and forth between very nice, very evil.
I think it's one of those things, and correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like him being quote unquote very evil, you still have that quote unquote very nice side of him, but he's not. What's the word I'm looking for? Pushover.
Yeah.
Very nice. You know what I mean? I loved finally people being able to see, people who haven't watched the stuff before, I should say, see him actually work in the ring, because
He can go.
Man, I'll tell you, when he jumped over and did that German real quick, I was oh, yeah, that's beautiful.
Another highlight to the match, I think, that kind of stuck out to me was, because I'm all about moments. I'm all about moments, in psychology. Obviously, one of the things the best friend does a lot, they always do, is the hug, right? The Factory broke it up.
Yep.
And it got super heat, and they did their own hug.
Yep.
Just stuff like that, man, which is incredible. And it just goes to show you, man, like QT Marshall is very, very underrated.
I completely agree.
I hate him. He's a heel I love to hate, but he's
good at storytelling.
Psychology, man.
Mm-hmm.
Pure psychology.
So, so you had best friends, Rocky Romero and Danhausen go over in that match. Second match, you had
Brian Cage versus Ricky Starks. Yeah, I give it the same grade. It was just, gave Ricky a lot of hot spots. Definitely gave a lot of hot spots. He actually went over in the match, but definitely made him look bigger and stronger than what you'd think. I'm very surprised. I'm not surprised, but I am surprised because I'm a big Ricky Starks fan, but I definitely didn't see like him beating Brian Cage. I don't know. I think Brian Cage is kind of withered away in AEW as far as what I'm concerned.
Well, I think what we're seeing here is we're seeing that Brian Cage is what I believe is going to be a main player for Ring of Honor.
And you're also seeing that Ricky Starks is the future.
Correct. Ricky
Ricky Starks is it. He looks like $1 million. He can go. He can talk. Definitely a young Flex Cavano, Rocky Maivia.
And he's facing. We'll get to as much of that card here shortly, but he's facing another part of the future in Ethan Page on Dynamite this coming week.
Yep, that's gonna be interesting what they do there
for the winner of the Eliminator. Especially now that we see, especially since we saw other stuff's transpired down the card, which we'll get to here shortly. And
another thing I can think about this match is Taz on commentary is hilarious. I love the term
orange and black suit.
I love the term yam bag.
Yam bag.
That's come like a
he's got his yam bag.
That's come a common term for Taz. He said something in this match too. Lots of flying meat. I thought that was funny. And then Tony Schiavone at one point said, "He's hurt. Good." Dude. Just the back and forth commentary really helped make a match that maybe didn't have anybody's interest. I think good commentary kind of brought that in.
I'm a big fan of the trio of Schiavone, Taz, and Excalibur.
So good.
Excalibur to me is the Michael Cole. If I'm just kind of
comparing them to the others,
making comparisons.
Yeah. And
then I feel like your Tony Schiavone could be your Corey Graves, your King, or maybe not King, Byron Saxton, but much better.
I think Excalibur's the lead, man. I think
Excalibur's definitely the lead.
So incredible.
And then Taz and like your Pat McAfee.
Taz is hilarious.
The yam bags. What's your thoughts?
I'm sorry. I'm trying not to cough into the mic.
Oh.
So if you hear some coughing, it's definitely me.
He's sick, folks, but he's still here.
It was weird. I was sneezing last week, so
because watching the show, I told Shane, for most of the show, I didn't even recognize that Schiavone was on commentary. Like I thought he wasn't on the show, and then like mid match, I was like, is Schiavone not on the show? And then then I heard his voice, and I was like, man, I don't think I've noticed that he was on the show the whole time. So I definitely think Excalibur and Taz. I mean, Schiavone's got an iconic voice, and I mean, it was my childhood, but I think Taz and Excalibur definitely lead the booth.
Was JR was on some of the matches too throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The third match of the pre-show.
I love this.
Solid
this match.
A, man. This match was Eddie Kingston versus Jun Akiyama, which was absolutely phenomenal. Everything you'd expect. This is the kind of match where Eddie thrives, right? Something about those hard-hitting, strong-style matches where they're physical, where they're throwing down. He likes to be hit. He likes to hit.
He called it something different in his promo.
Japanese strong style?
No, he called it something different from strong style. I don't remember what he called it though, but when he said it, I was like, oh, he didn't say strong style.
I'm not sure of an alternative term, but man, they beat the piss out of one another this whole match. Chops thrown, punches thrown, and it was definitely, I think what made this match even more interesting was the emotional investment that Eddie Kingston had in it, going against one of his idols or role models. I think it made the match mean a lot more. You could feel the sentiment coming across the television screen. I thought it was superbly done. Eddie went over clean, and
I mean, you could see the emotion
awesome.
after the match that it was definitely a big moment for him.
Then Eddie gets on a mic. Eddie gets on the mic, cuts a promo. They're trying to get him off. Like, get out the ring. Then all of a sudden he goes, "Hey people, it's 7:53. Order the GD pay-per-view." Yeah, like just stuff like that. Man.
I gotta get. Oh, all right, guys, I'm out. Peace.
So incredible. Like I said, those kind of matches are when I really love Eddie Kingston.
Which I'm still a fan of anytime Eddie's on the mic.
You can't get any more raw, any more real than that. Whenever he cuts that promo, remember that promo he did was it with Moxley, where he had the liquor bottle in the back, where he I don't know if he emptied it out or something, but I don't remember. But it was just he's just amazing. Not a big, his work is okay.
I love his work
Against the right opponent. But if you put him in the ring with somebody, I've seen him exposed a lot, but his promos, I don't think there's many that are better than him.
I just love seeing the guy in the ring. I love seeing him work. I don't care who
I like
his personally.
His passion in his promos. I think a lot of his promos are starting to sound the same.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I mean, but the passion comes across. That I think if it wasn't for that, I think his promo skills wouldn't be what we think they are. But
right.
I think the passion comes across and it makes up for it sometimes.
Eddie Kingston is to me, Eddie's a lot like John Moxley. Either you like him or you don't.
There's nothing in the middle.
Yeah. And that's kind of the same thing I get with Mox is with Moxley, either you like the way he fights in the ring, you like the way he talks on the mic, or you don't. And is what it is. So
then we head on over to the show opener. Main card. Steel cage match. Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Against Luchasaurus.
Jungle Boy shined.
Big time. Superstar. And that's one of the things I wanted to say. It was indeed a star-making performance for Jack Perry. He defeated Luchasaurus. I'd probably give it a solid B. Did you watch the main card?
Yeah. So I looking back, I really only missed that first pre-show match, but I think all of AEW's cage matches, I think from what I read, they don't do the escape escape over the top of the cage thing, or feet touch the ground. I mean, they just kind of keep going, which I think is a missed opportunity. I think that adds more intrigue to the cage match. I think just having
another
it
way to
where,
win.
Just seems like, other than it just being a weapon, there's not really much else to it. But the elbow drop at the end was nasty. He definitely did look like it was
for all involved.
Yeah, it looked like it really hurt. And then I think it was maybe like a minute or two after that, and it showed Jungle Boy celebrating, and he had a big welt on the side of his, where you could tell where he hit the table. So
just kind of fill people in. So Lucha was on the table, and Jungle Boy is up top,
climbed all the way to the top of the cage,
jumped off, and then definitely ate the whole side of the table in his rib, and then got his elbow, a little bit of his elbow on Lucha, but
had to have cracked a rib.
Oh, easily. Yeah, but I thought the match was. I was questioning it opening the show. I was questioning that from the beginning. I was like, oh boy, but it was it was perfect. It was perfect to show opener. The gimmick match was really good. It started slow and it ended in a hard hitting, brutal affair, and I thought it was incredibly well done.
What would you have given that match?
Solid B plus, somewhere in there.
Yeah, so Bleacher Report gave it a B plus as well.
6.5.
Oh, what's that, a C?
IMDb. Yeah, it's a C.
Oh, it's horrible. No, I thought it was. I thought it was good. Seeing him do the kill switch was good. I enjoyed that.
So I think
Christian.
We've kind of been grading the matches on a F to A scale, but I think we need to grade it on a 1 to 10 scale, since we use that same scale when we talk about movies. Just kind of give the listeners a little bit more insight into
8.0
how we feel about the match,
8.5.
because we know 6.0 is your baseline. So
you blow that.
Well, 6.0 is an F.
And not no Meltzer scale where it's 5 stars and then all of a sudden we're at
7 star.
6.5, 7 stars. 1 through 10.
Well, then this next match is definitely a 7 star.
No, you're
Oh,
overshooting.
no. It's got
No. This next match has Matt and Nick. This definitely a 7 star.
Well, no. If we're going by Meltzer scale, Elite got to put themselves above 7 star FTR every time. So it's more like an 8 star,
Yeah, 7.5.
So it wasn't their best match together. So we're talking Death Triangle, AEW World Trios Champion against the Elite. let's just say the highlight for me this match was the Elite's return entrance. It was amazing. Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas was
Don't you cry no more.
phenomenal. And Johnathan, I looked over at Johnathan because he hates Kenny Omega. I looked over at Johnathan and I was like, that was cool, wasn't it? He's like, yeah, it was pretty cool. Like he had to. It was Kenny Omega that made it cool.
Well, so I love the song. First
Yes,
of all,
you
I do
have
love
to.
the song, but it was when the beat, like the drum hit, it was right when Kenny did the point, but it was like timed perfectly. It was just.
Have you seen it yet? The whole entrance. Mm-hmm. Oh dang it! Okay, I was gonna show it to you.
But I'll watch it again.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. So the match was really good. I'm not gonna say it was anything bad, but it's everything you expect to see between these two teams.
The ending.
The finish.
Love the ending.
Absolutely.
I love the ending when it happened. I disliked the ending about an hour and a half later in the show.
We'll get to that too, because I know exactly what he's talking about. Jonathan's like, but yeah. So Death Triangle defeated the Elite. They retained. Awesome segment the way to finish the match was incredible. So something I thought of, like I would 1 to 10. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
7.5.
I say that's what we said. Yeah.
7.5. It was not 7-star, but it was okay.
So I said the Lucha Max was 6.5. I'd give this one a 7.
Yeah, so we're there. We're in the ballpark.
Because I did enjoy the match as much as I'm not necessarily a Kenny fan, but
Can we talk about what JR said? Not the Terminator clap.
JR's hilarious.
But outside of Pac and Omega being in the match, I mean, we were at All Out last year when it was Young Bucks and Lucha, and that was
way better.
That to me, that was the bar.
They had a cage involved.
Not Sheamus and Cesaro, but that was
We are the bar.
That was
We
the,
don't set
that
the
was
bar.
an awesome match to watch in person and watching it back. So I think that was, this wasn't. It definitely didn't top that. It was So
and I go back to the finish of the match, seeing Phoenix finally use that hammer. That
if
belt.
the finish wasn't what it was, it wouldn't have been a 7 in my book. It
Yep.
would have been a lot lower. But I think the finish, it had like a lot of storytelling in it from the last couple weeks or months. With Pac and
So I
Lucha Brothers.
I caught some of the matches, on the way home from Clemson, and I also went back and watched some of the YouTube shorts and stuff like that. And I did see where, Pac throws or Pac, whatever he goes by, throws the hammer to Phoenix, and Phoenix catches it and uses it, and immediately was conflicted. And I think that's where, you see Phoenix roll out the ring after everything, kind of, like, what the heck did I just do? But they celebrate nonetheless. And I didn't realize Penta was as jacked as he was.
That's the first time I've seen him, I think, wrestle without his
Shirt.
Shirt, yeah.
His shirt, part of his,
So,
of course, typical Elite Death Triangle match. A lot of falsies. Must have been 15 of them. But again, it's what you come to expect. You're not gonna get anything else. I thought it was a really good match. What did we say? 7.5? You say 7.
I said 7.
I'm gonna give it 7.5.
One thing I did read though that I've read in multiple outlets was people who were saying, who've always talked down on the Elite and talked trash about them, say, okay, I tuned in, and where I always said they were just flippity floppity whatever types of things, they really know psychology really well, and have basically
More than they let on.
have basically said, hey, I was wrong.
Yeah, way more than they let on. And I think some other things I'd like to point out about this match was, okay, this crowd was very pro-Elite, very anti-Punk.
FCM Punk.
It was a very, very loud FCM Punk chant. And now they're going to Chicago, which is going to be even the Jacksons are like,
Yeah, they posted.
they've already
their
tweeted
Twitter
about it. They're nervous because Chicago is no joke, bro. Especially an AEW Chicago crowd.
Well, and can we talk about?
Do you think they come out to Punk's music?
They should. They absolutely should. Now, the other thing to think about is does Tony have the rights to that song, or does that Punk have the rights? I don't know. I'd be interested to know.
Punk's still under contract, so.
Okay.
So, Mike, and we can move on it, but I just want to say, how about the latest being the Elite trailer?
I didn't see it yet.
So
I literally sent it to you.
Yeah, so they have all this music, and then when they get the FCM Punk,
oh, that's what you sent me.
They take the music out so that you can just hear that.
Yeah, they're so awesome. I love it. I love it. It's.
I mean, it was something I would.
But
do,
you know, Punk is at home like, that was pretty good. You can't help it.
But we can't move on yet, so because I got.
Keep going. You're keep going.
So what I was saying earlier about the finish. I love the finish. I thought it was well done. I don't think anybody a lot of people necessarily thought the Elite were going to come back and lose. And if that would have been the case, and that would have been it would have been more of a shocker. But about an hour and a half later in the show, they decided to announce a best of 7 series for the next month and a half of Death Triangle versus the Elite for the World Trio title. So that alone,
the best part though, they already were up 1-0.
So that alone, I was like, okay, yeah, we've seen this match already a lot between the two teams. So now we got we've got to watch it for the next 7 weeks essentially. So I was kind of grown. But they showed the graphic, but then I was like, okay, well, we've had a lot of best of 7s like throughout wrestling history, and a lot of them have been good. Booker T, Benoit, just going back through history. But so I was like, okay, well, maybe I can get behind it. But then the crazy thing is, at no point before the match did they ever announce this best of 7, and then all of a sudden this match on the pay-per-view is match 1. I mean, after they announced it, they're like, oh, well, Death Triangle's up 1-0. Okay, well, all right.
Such lazy booking, absolutely horrible. I can't get behind it in any way, shape, or form.
So it did lose some of its luster because of that.
Absolutely did.
And then I'm like, okay, well, so the Elite booked themselves to lose on the return, but they're going to end up with this best of 7 victory.
You know it's good when you look at Johnathan, he goes, okay. Just okay. All right. Yeah, so we think we know what the end result is going to be. But
I mean, everybody was reporting best of 7.
Elite.
Starting next week on Dynamite, and then an hour later, they're like, "Oh well, this match counted." So we got 6 more matches.
I think what they needed, they're going to do the Boston Red Sox 0-4. Death Triangle's going to go up 3-0, and then Elite's going to win 4 in a row.
Brock will probably come out and help him win match number 7.
Goldberg,
CM Punk.
All right.
Next match of the night,
Match of the night, TBS Championship, Jade Cargill defending against the, end quote, TBS champion, end quote, Nyla Rose.
TBS champion.
Yeah. Laser.
Pump kick right in the face. Just like that.
What'd you think of Nyla's entrance?
Homage to Eddie.
So that was a Rhea Ripley shirt that
it is a Rhea Ripley shirt
that she's wearing.
So I saw the shirt,
which is interesting,
and I was like, Rhea just released a shirt like that, but then I couldn't remember. I didn't know if there was back when Eddie was he had the I'm Your Poppy shirt. If there was a shirt like that for China, I couldn't remember. I was like, I just couldn't think back that far. But no, that shirt was released with Rhea. It was a complete.
If you pull the tag on that shirt, it says WWE on that shirt. But yeah,
she's cut the neck out low enough so you can't pull a tag off of it.
I thought it was a good way to get heat for him, whatever. Nyla. It was a good way to get heat. Whatever. Match solid. That's probably a 5 for me. It wasn't that long. The thing I like, I guess, about the match is it just makes Jade look very dominant. They maintained Jade's dominance. My next question is who's going to beat her?
Mercedes.
Saraya. Um,
I'm just glad.
but I will say
Tessa.
she's getting better. I think Tessa Blanchard. I think time heals everything. You know, I think ultimately when she goes somewhere, it's going to be big. But anyway, you get me off track with that because I think Tessa's the best women's wrestler in the world. But the thing with Jade though is okay. So the shiny new toy always loses its luster at some point, right? You can only do something for so long before it's like it gets boring.
Yeah.
So at some point, Jade's got to be booked to lose. You know, I hope it's a good build, so it means something, not just like some fluke victory.
So I am getting. I agree. I think it's just the same. I mean, even when her matches aren't squash matches, I mean, you know that you just know the end result before the match even starts. Really, I mean, no matter who really at this point, no matter who she's fighting, but
I think so.
I have kind of grown on her, like her entrance gears. Like her
She was dressed as Chitara.
her
I'm okay with
presentation
that.
is always really nice. I mean, just from a like
She was
the
She-Hulk before.
thought process behind her whole.
So is
presentation.
China. Oh,
Come on. I think I wonder if they wait to let her lose to Chris Statlander when Chris Statlander comes back, or if they allow heel Athena, because Athena's been big time heel lately.
Well, they said so. The rumors are now that Athena's, I guess, scheduled to be in a program with Mercedes. Was it? No, not is it?
Jamie?
No, Martinez.
Oh, okay.
The Ring of Honor women's title.
I can see it. Athena, yeah, but Athena's been. I mean, she's been on a roll as a heel. And that happened on Dark. You know, it's one of those things that the crowd was behind the homegrown lady, and she just kind of kept the whole heel thing going, and she's just been in her element. So,
But I think Jade has a lot of external star power too when it comes to just outside of AEW. I know, like, I don't know if y'all saw, but they're supposed
Bow Wow.
They're scheduled to show it on Dynamite, but she had this. Her and Bow Wow have been having this beef on Twitter, or like Bow Wow's been trying to holler at her, and she keeps shutting him down. But they interrupted his press conference, and
In Miami.
so they're supposed to show that on Dynamite.
there we go. All right. Not even get involved in that.
Bow Wow Wow.
Yippee yo, yippee yay.
Where my dog's at.
Bart whipping now.
Okay. So next match, the Ring of Honor World Championship Fatal 4-Way match.
Ring of Jericho.
The Ocho, Chris Jericho defending against the American Dragon. Bryan Danielson defending against Claudio Castagnoli. Defending against the Spanish, what's he called? The Spanish God?
Spanish God.
Sammy Guevara. Yeah, so this match was fun. Very solid. I thought it was amazing. This is probably actually low-key one of my favorite matches on the card. I definitely didn't see it ending like it did. I didn't see a retain happening here.
I did. I called that on last week's episode.
You did. You did. I give you credit where credit's due. But I don't know. So how about we gotta give it. No, that's later in the show. I was mixing up matches. I was about to. We gotta give Elliot credit. Wait. No, I'm the other Blackpool Combat Club member.
Well, we
What did you think of the match, though? I'm curious what your opinion of it.
It was good. I enjoyed it. I think some things happened in the match that I didn't really foresee. I mean, I didn't really see a path really where Jericho lost the title, but
he hit the Judas effect on was Castagnoli or Sammy?
I want to say Sammy.
He hit the Judas effect on one and pinned the other, I believe. I don't
I
remember.
have to go back and look at it.
I definitely didn't see. I mean, Jericho and Sammy had like a couple of moments. I mean, they were definitely like going at each other, not just hey, it's just us two in the ring. Like, we're just gonna kind of throw down. I mean, they like turned on each other, like you would kind of expect on like a battle royal type scenario. So I'm curious to see where that, the dissension inside of the Jericho Appreciation Society, and then, we'll get to Blackpool Combat Club later, but I'm curious to see where that goes too. So.
I'm thinking another thing that, how about Ian Riccaboni was on commentary that match.
Yep.
Talking about Samoa Joe.
Greatest Ring of Honor champion of all time.
So I think that's going to possibly set that feud up at some point down the road. It's going to be an ultimate rivalry at some point. I mean, it's inevitable. Especially seeing what
Joe did
doing
later on.
Yeah, I don't see them giving him a third belt. So
I did it with Kenny. He ain't do it with Joe.
Joe.
Yeah, Kenny won't let that happen.
Kenny. By the way,
the Trace.
I guess that's an off-topic conversation. Next match, the return, first match in 5 years. Saraya, formerly known as Paige, going against the Doctor, Britt Baker.
DMD.
DMD.
So Saraya in the post-media scrum had nothing but praise for Britt Baker. Big time.
I think Britt Baker's amazing.
I mean, she
even said after she broke character and said that Britt carried her through most of the match.
Through most of her return.
I think
helping her brush up on promos and everything.
I think the match overall was better than what I honestly thought it would have been for her first match in so long.
5 years?
On the national level. Yeah, I thought the match was really good. I enjoyed it more than the Nyla match with Jade. I think just because of the emotional attachment behind it. And
I think it says something, and it's not just been this match, but you think back to any of the returns where somebody career could have been over. So think back to Edge coming back, Saraya. I mean, even Sting in AEW, just like
Brian Danielson
being limited. Like, I'm surprised. Obviously, they're not going to put her in the ring unless she's 100% cleared. But I mean, Britt worked on her neck like the whole match. So I mean, that's like, when
psychology, bro.
I was gonna say as just watching it. I mean, it really makes you buy in when it's like, okay, well,
she could really be hurt.
Yeah,
like that twister neck breaker to the outside on the floor from the apron. Well, me and Johnathan looked at each other like, whoa.
Well, post media scrum, you heard a lot about that, where Saraya talked about days she's not working, where she's just there for promo stuff. Whether she's in the ring or not, they're putting the tens unit onto the East M. They're working her neck out to make sure everything's good to go. But it also tells you how much people trust people who are getting back in the ring after a while, the majority of these big names, whether they are just not coming from WWE or whether they haven't wrestled in 5 years because of injury, all of them have first worked with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And she was given high praise of being the one who has built the women's division for AEW. So big kudos to her for all the work she's put in, for sure.
That's why when I hear the name Tessa Blanchard, all I can think of is her and Britt Baker. Like, would be phenomenal.
Well, I'll say, I mean, this is kind of going back some, but I mean, I think it's been talked about on the podcast that I really didn't start watching AEW until
Sting.
Right about the same time. I mean, right when Sting joined. That was why I started watching AEW. But one of the first women matches that I saw on AEW was Britt versus Thunder Rosa. The what they call it? Not hardcore match, but
the one where she won the belt.
Yeah, where she had the
Thunder Rosa. They were in San Antonio.
Crimson mask, and the thumbtacks came into play and stuff like that. And I mean, it was a fantastic match. I mean, I've watched.
That was around. Was that around St. Patrick's Day? Was it that one? Could have been a different one. Like, his Thunder Rosa won the belt on one of their special Dynamite shows.
Yeah, well, I think that Britt won this match. I think.
Okay.
This was before that, but because Britt was the title, but that was one of the first ones, and I was like, oh man, that match was. I mean, I was balled in, and I've seen the 4 horsewomen matches and stuff, and some really good women's matches, and that one to me was on another level. I mean, when I watched it, I was like, okay, like, I mean, they got women out here performing like that. Now, I don't think the Brits necessarily had a match up to that level since then.
Yeah.
But that could also be some of her competition, not necessarily her. But
in the end, you got Saraya with the victory. Let her go over. Very, very emotional moment. After the win, she hugs her brother, Zach
Bevis. Yeah, I think he's coming in at some point. He's lobbying for a job. I think he's going to end up in AEW at some point. He's actually a very talented worker.
Yeah.
In the UK. TNT Championship match.
What was your grade for that one?
5.5.
I'd say 6.
See, we're always within half a point. We're close. TNT Championship match. Ring of Honor World TV Champion Samoa Joe. TNT Champion Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs.
Powerhouse. Willie Hobbs. As JR calling him in the match. Powerhouse Willie.
The match itself,
had one standout moment.
I think the ending, even though Wardlow lost a belt, he wasn't one that got pinned, and I think it did more. I think it kind of clears a path for him going forward. I think that he won the TNT title. That it was a big deal, but I think it was limiting.
Didn't make him look weak.
It was limiting where he was going, like, his trajectory some. So I think it's not that much longer away before we see him in the title picture, maybe for the AEW World Title, especially with who has the title now. But the standout moment for me.
Oh yeah.
And Shane missed it live, and I had to send it to him.
I don't know what I was doing. I must have looked away.
I think you were looking at your phone.
Whisper in the Wind.
The Whisper in the Wind. It was. I mean, Wardlow is not a small guy.
No, he's 270-something pounds.
He did slip up, not in this spot. There was another spot where he slipped up on the Swanton. Yep. But the Whisper in the Wind, I mean, for him it was flawless. I mean, and it looked amazing when he did it. And I was like, there's no way a guy that big should be able to, like, move that agile. I mean, to me, it looked better than Hardy's.
It was incredible. And because from a Wardlow standpoint, if that dude hits a Whisper in the Wind, bowling pins,
yeah, look out,
like scatter. I think it's interesting because I think Ring of Honor pay-per-view is coming up, so you're gonna have Samoa Joe going against.
Pay-per-view's not coming up till
Ring of Honor December.
Well, winter is coming, but that's not a pay-per-view.
Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
Oh, Ring of Honor. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's December. My bad.
So I think that's going to set up that match with Joe and Wardlow. I think that's inevitable.
I was kind of intrigued at the end of the match when Hobbs was getting out of the ring. He kind of looked at Wardlow, and there was like a nod of respect or something. Yep. I'll be curious to see if something happens there. Not Hobbs and Wardlow tag teaming.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Oh, Power War.
We were joking about that
big
night.
Men slapping meat.
Oh, there's a bunch of big men slapping meat. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I'd give it I'm gonna give that match a 6.5 just because of that Whisper in the Wind, because that was an incredible moment for me. And plus, anytime you have 3 monster dudes, 270, 300 plus pound guys going at it, I mean, it just makes for a more captivating television. So I'm gonna give it a solid 6.5, just because of the size of the people in the match and what they were able to do. I'm gonna give it a 6.
Well, I was thinking that, but I'll say 5.5 just because you made that
dick.
comment about being half a point.
That is a dick move. Sorry, it is.
But in the end, Wardlow still looks strong.
Absolutely. 100%. I'm worried about Hobbs here. I'm worried about he did not come out looking strong at all. The way that match went.
So. But it's kind of been his whole shtick. He's been the one who's ends up not looking strong on almost every single feud. But let's move on to the next match. Probably Jonathan's favorite match of the night. No DQ, no count-out match. Sting and Darby Allin versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
the last outlaw.
Oh, yeah.
It was not my favorite match. Of the
It was
night.
not. It wasn't even close. I'm gonna let you talk on this one first.
I don't
Just 'cause
know.
it's Sting.
It is Sting, but it's also Jarrett. And I don't really like Jarrett at all. And
Sting didn't look too good this match.
he didn't look too good. So I was curious because he hasn't been on TV at all in any. I mean, the promo package I think on Dynamite going into the pay-per-view was the first time we've seen him in any capacity in like 2 months or a month or 2 months. It seems like, whether it was part of his based off Jarrett's entrance or what. I mean, Sting wasn't even wrestling in his typical Sting t-shirt. It was just a solid black sweatshirt. He looked like he had put on some weight, a little bit of weight, or just hasn't been in the gym. You know, like he just
Walked in.
was preparing for Starrcade '97. But I don't know. He had his his spots jumping off the rails in the crowd. You know, I think Satnam almost missed catching him, and he dove headfirst into the pavement. But I don't know.
Such is life.
I mean, anytime Sting's on TV, I cherish the match itself because I know he don't have much longer left. But it was probably my least favorite Sting moment since he's been in AEW.
Thinking he returned too early.
No, I just think they were in a crap match.
Yeah.
I mean, why is I love Jeff Jarrett. Don't get me wrong. I do love Jeff Jarrett. I think him and his dad Jerry have contributed a lot to this business in many shapes and forms and roles and different things. But why is Jeff Jarrett in the middle of this match? Like, why? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Unless Flair was going to be involved, because that would have been hilarious. Because it would have made sense because it was lethal and everything. But it just doesn't make sense to me why this kind of moment, why this spot in a pay-per-view is going to somebody like Jeff Jarrett.
So I don't have a problem with Jarrett. Well,
Hey, you do.
yeah, I was gonna say I don't necessarily have a problem with him being in a backstage role because I do think that he might sort of fill the shoes that Cody left as far as just knowing the business and kind of being tied into history and all that stuff. But
I think I know the answer to this.
We'll stay behind the scenes then.
But that was going to be my point. But I don't even know then. He's always been on camera, but I didn't like Double J in '96 WWF. I didn't like him in WCW. I didn't like him in TNA.
So here's what
I don't know.
You didn't like the King of the Mountain?
I'm just not a fan of.
I think Tony expected a bigger pop with Jarrett. I think that's what he expected. I think he expected that him having Jarrett show up, hit Allen with a guitar and all that was going to receive a bigger pop and create a bigger story for the pay-per-view.
Made it worse.
And it flubbed. And so
He probably knows that, though.
I think what we see, I think we see Jarrett coming off of television
Thank God.
and just moving into his backstage role and possibly making an appearance here and there. But I think that's what we get.
I think he stays on TV. But my disdain for Jarrett, I think, stems from. So I was definitely more of a WCW guy, and I feel like I picture Jarrett and Russo hand in hand. Like all of my bad memories about WCW have like Jarrett as the face of WCW, and I don't think he should have ever been the face of anything.
So next match,
AEW Interim World Women's Championship match. Tony Storm.
This was Elliot's favorite match,
Defending
favorite
against
outcome of the
Jamie
of the night.
Hayter. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go out and say this
possibly the match of the night.
This is one of the best matches of the night. I thought it was incredibly well done. I thought Tony Storm looked her best since she's come into AEW.
Doesn't take much.
You're such a Jamie hater.
Hey, I drink the Haterade.
The crimson with Tony's nose, I thought was awesome. I mean,
The crowd was definitely behind Jamie the whole match.
And a lot of falsies or a lot of moments where you thought, oh, God, Tony's going to win. This crowd's going to riot. And needless to say, she didn't.
As much as Elliot doesn't like Toni Storm, I still think her, whatever you call it, her like hip thrust,
Hip attack?
yeah,
Sweet Cheeks music.
yeah, that's what Tony Schiavone called that. She did it on
Sweet
to the like
Cheeks music.
to somebody on the like getting in the ring, but he said Sweet Cheeks music. I just thought it was hilarious. But it looks extremely painful. Like that, it looks like it when she hits it. It just always looks like her opponent's neck just snaps.
There's moments where I think Toni Storm is probably one of the best women's wrestlers in AEW. But there's other moments where I'm like, oh, she's not, But to me, she's one of the most inconsistent workers in all of pro wrestling.
Well, and that's the thing for me that says,
She's the Carolina Gamecocks of wrestling.
Who?
It's fact. We'll get to that at some point, but it's true. It's a fair comparison.
Honestly, I was a little distracted for some of the pay-per-view because of that very reason.
That's gonna be a good moment for us. Rare bragging moment. Yeah, I thought it was incredibly well done. I thought the decision to put the belt on Hayter was the right one.
It was still an outcome I didn't see happening. Like I didn't see Jamie winning at all. Like I'm glad that they put her over because I think we've talked about like the first match that the Acclaimed had with Swerve about the crowd being behind the Acclaimed and then Swerve and then winning. And there's been a couple of times where it's gone like that where the crowd has been behind somebody and they didn't go over. I wouldn't have thought going into the match that Jamie would have went over, but hearing the crowd, I was like, her going over, it was good. It was a good moment. Good reaction from the crowd.
Well, you even over here, Britt Baker, say this is Jamie's time now. It's Jamie's time. So the question then becomes, well, for how long?
Baker's going to turn on her. Some sort of jealousy is going to come at some point, and we know how this goes.
And we still got
same old swan song.
Let's not forget that Hayter is still the interim AEW Women's Champion, unless
because Tony touched on this last week after our episode, there's a chance that he may be pulling the whole interim thing away and
I think she's gone. You talking about Thunder Rosa?
Yep, Thunder Rosa.
I think something happened there again. Something's always happening behind the scenes at AEW. I think she's gone.
So go ahead.
No, that's it.
So you mentioned the claim. Speaking of the claim, you had the semi-main event on the card. AEW World Tag Team Championship match, The Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory, and something happened that I do believe I stated would happen on this show. I think all of us may have even stated it. In the match, you had a breakup of a team, but
it was definitely bound to happen.
Yeah,
we knew it was gonna come to a head at some point. But man, that smack, bro, nasty.
Keith Lee didn't, but I think that's the thing that kind of surprised me from what I saw in all the different clips and stuff was Keith Lee. He didn't retaliate against Swerve. He literally just walked out. I was like, man, that's I liked it because for what we're talking about, guys, if you're not aware, Swerve in Our Glory broke up mid-match against the Acclaimed, and basically Keith Lee and Shane and Johnathan can fill in the gaps here, but my understanding is what you had was Lee kind of calling Swerve out, talking about you're not this type of guy or whatever. Swerve kind of smacked him in the face or something, and where most of the time you'd see a wrestler retaliate, Swerve helped up Anthony Bowens, turns around and just walks out.
Yeah, and it left an interesting moment where Swerve almost pulled it out. Like oh man, like this team's splitting, obviously. So what if Swerve actually won the match? That would have been interesting way to go. But they didn't. But there's a couple moments where you thought, oh my gosh, Swerve is gonna pull this off, and ultimately ended up going into the Acclaim's favor, which is awesome, man, because they've had now 3 matches together. This is probably their second best one.
That's what I was about to say. Many are saying this was better than the title change, but not better than the match it all out.
Right. But the cool thing is, with Keith Lee and with Swerve going their own way, going wherever they're going, it does create a good opportunity for the Acclaim to shine. Put them in the ring with, somebody
FTR.
different. FTR, Lucha Bros at some point. Even the Guns, man. There's so many teams that. Where are the Varsity Blondes? Where are they at?
So they can't use Varsity Blondes right now because Mark Sterling owns
Smart Mark?
Smart Mark Sterling owns the rights to Varsity. So Varsity Blondes cannot use Varsity Blondes.
Is that storyline? I ain't heard.
That's
I ain't been following none of that. Where's that? Is that Rampage?
No, that's it initially happened on Dynamite. It's gone through Rampage. It's going through Dark and Elevation and all that. But yeah, so you had the Varsity Athletes with Tony Nese and what's the other guy's name?
Josh something.
Yeah, Josh something.
Alexander? No.
No.
Briggs? No, not Briggs.
He was the former Pure champion. Is that Josh Briggs?
It might be.
They're the Varsity Athletes under Smart Mark Sterling. Smart Mark.
Josh Woods.
Smart Mark got the copyright and trademark for Varsity. So Varsity Blondes can no longer use that. So.
Oh, that's dumb. Okay. Yep. There we go. So yeah, I'm excited to see what the Acclaim goes to now. So many more opportunities, now that Swerve and their glory are dissipating, doing their own thing. I think it does set up a nice match with Swerve and Keith Lee. I think it'll be very entertaining, contrast to styles. Always a fan of those. So we'll see what happens.
I'm wondering if Swerve aligns himself with anyone, or if he just stays as a singles heel. I say that
he doesn't need a talker. He is a talker.
Well, and I could say that, but who does need a talker and who could use someone like Swerve? Mentioned him earlier, Powerhouse Hobbs. Does Swerve find someone else to be that muscle for him?
That's a WWE thing to do.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I always put the black guy with the black guy.
I was just talking about stylistically.
But I think I wouldn't be opposed to them putting Lee with somebody, but I think Swerve needs to go off on his own. I think he's got the it factor.
I agree.
Period.
They could have him versus MJF, and I'd be sold.
He was perfectly fine as Isaiah Swerve Scott as the North American champion, and they put him with Hit Row. He didn't need Hit Row though.
Oh no, but Hit Row needs him.
Hit Row needs him, and we've seen that on SmackDown recently. They called them up, and rumor is they're about to send them back down to NXT. So I'm down, over, whatever you want to call it. But nevertheless, brings us to our final match of the night.
My match of the night. This is my match of the night. AEW World Champion Jon Moxley defending against the red hot MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Now, hold on, Shane. Now, when he said that's his match of the night, Johnathan, you made a face. So,
I do think it was the match of the night. I enjoyed the match.
You didn't like the ending, did you? I called it.
Maybe that's why I didn't like it.
There's something else to go with that, too.
But
I'm not going to lie. Hang on.
I was going to get to that if you didn't.
Oh, no, go ahead. It's all you, baby.
No, that we can get. We'll talk about the match first. It's not that I didn't like the ending. I don't know. The build to the match, something seemed off. Like it didn't. I wasn't
MJF
as excited.
was a baby face.
Yeah, I love him as a heel, and I get that
they were in his hometown.
The fans, you can only do so much with what the fans not turn on you, but if the fans are going one way, as much as you try to lean out of that, there's only so much you can do. The fans are going to cheer who they want to cheer, and ending of the match and the way leading up to the match, how they portrayed MJF and booked him, I don't know. I wasn't as much of a fan with that. The match itself was good. I would have liked to see. I mean, he did win it in a heel way, but I would have liked to seen him being full heel. Like I still go back to.
Would you have preferred him use the actual Dynamite ring instead of brass knucks from Regal?
No, I actually did like that. I still think it. I mean, it didn't come out of nowhere because like the whole Regal thing has kind of happened over the last couple of weeks, but it still just doesn't. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me in the like grand scheme of things. But like my favorite MJF moment is still when he was in the feud with Jericho, and it was like the countdown clock for Jericho, and you thought like Break the Walls Down was gonna play, and then his music hit.
Oh yeah.
So like that, like that's the MJF I love, and I felt like they went away from that going into the match.
Now I didn't expect everything to happen post match that happened. I didn't expect that.
The scrum?
No. Before the scrum, like all BCC come out and hug Mox and hey, we're good, blah blah blah. Hey, Regal did this type of thing. I didn't expect that. I definitely thought Danielson was going to turn Castagnoli. I was wrong on that, but
I mean, Regal plays a good heel too. So I mean, it's
100%.
definitely
absolutely, he
not
plays
that-
a good heel.
that they are an odd pairing. I just think, I mean, the whole reason the Black Bull Combat Club was together was because of Regal. So I think just having him turn, I don't know. The whole decision booking the match, just something didn't sit right with me.
Well, and two, is this a one-time thing? Because think about when MJF came back with the whole the firm is weird. You know.
Well, yeah, he paid them.
So that's what, like, to me,
bad booking is what this is.
the ultimate heel MJF move would have been, because the firm came out and beat him down, you know, and it definitely seemed like they turned on him, or he
To have them come back out.
was to have them come back out, and then MJF reveal it was all a work to begin with, like, oh, you know, like, and then him still aligned with the firm. Like, to me, that would have made more sense than just having and been more of a.
So, what if Ethan Page beats Ricky Starks?
Which I think will happen.
Ethan Page faces MJF, and they do the finger point of doom.
Elliot
whatever.
is determined
I'm just.
to call this at once. You know, every week said
Well,
it's
I
going to
think I
happen.
said it last week. There's a finger poke, but
Yeah, I mean, you know, would that then say, oh yeah, this is the MJF I like?
which, real quick, going back to the Ring of Honor match, there was definitely the moment Jericho and Sammy first came face to face. Shane looked at me and he was like, "It's about to happen." I was like, I called it on the show. It was about to happen, and then they attacked each other, and I was like, "Well, that didn't go the way I thought it was going to," but
No, I
I
didn't
definitely
expect
thought
them
it
to
was
throw
going to
down.
happen.
Yeah, so I thought the match was really good. I liked all the referee bumps. Thought the referee bumps were always entertaining. But ultimately, you know, Regal did the sliding of the brass knucks, laid him out. New champion. I'm interested to see if it's a one-time thing. That's what I'm curious about.
Can we just talk about how Jon Moxley is definitely the ace of AEW?
He's going on vacation now. Finally,
6 months, he's out.
Yeah, he's gonna be on a good while.
I mean, you think he hasn't been away since the birth of his child? He completely skipped his vacation and has been
What, 2 months now?
at least.
But you have Renee still with the company, so
Well,
She'll be gone.
You might see her leave too. I mean, not leave the company, but
No, she'll be out for a little bit.
and deservingly so. You know, that's one thing I do love about AEW, probably more than anything, is their willingness to, give their top stars, give their people a break.
Man, and you hear the high praise from all the talent all the time. So
do you think Mox is on Dynamite tonight?
no,
You don't think so? I was like, I think he is, because I don't think that. I mean, nothing happened where they wrote him off.
Incapacitated.
like no injury or anything. I mean, I think he's got to be on the show to confront Regal, but I could see him, questioning things and being like, this was my mentor. I got to take some time away or take a step away to.
I don't even know if he leaves immediately. he's now without the burden of the world championship, right? So now he's got like something off his shoulders, but I don't see him leaving like right now.
Well,
The next couple weeks maybe, but they got to do something to tie up the loose end.
I mean, well, right now you have on the card right now is Death Triangle versus the Elite round 2. That's what it says.
It's just funny to me.
Match 2, Death Triangle versus the Elite for the AEW World Trio Championship, best of series.
It is for the belts again.
7 series.
Yeah, the whole.
Is every match? Wait, is every match for the belts?
They didn't clarify. So
It says
I don't know.
AEW World Trios Championship, best of 7 series. So I'm guessing they don't get the belts unless they win the best of 7.
Again, that's my problem with the whole match. Because if that's the case, then the match Saturday was not for the belts.
Yeah, right.
Because it was just match 1.
I think every match is for the belts.
Oh no! So I take that back. So that, like you said, that they were going to do the Red Sox move and come back 0-4. No, it's going to be 1-1, 2-1, 2-2. Because the Elite's going to have to win the belt 4 times.
It's going to be so Death Triangle 1.
First ever AEW 5-time World Tag Team Champions in a matter of
It's going to be
6 weeks.
Makes me sick.
Elite's going to win the next 4.
No, they got to lose some so they can regain the belts and be 3-time champs, 4-time champs,
They won't-
5-time champs.
They'll be longest reigning AEW.
Yo, I'm actually nervous I'm nervous that people are gonna eat this up, like not in a good way. Like this is not smart. This is not good.
Somewhere you've got to throw the House of Black in there. You got to.
You would think.
Where were they? I thought they were. Well, rumor has it they were actually backstage at Full Gear, talking to Tony. Hey, what the F are we doing? You know, give us a plan. So the promos have been awesome.
Oh yeah, the vignettes have been great. You got Ethan Page, World Title Eliminator Tournament Final versus Ricky Starks.
That should be a good match.
Orange Cassidy versus Jake Hager for the All Atlantic Championship.
I'm actually very intrigued. I love Jake Hager in that purple hat. Dang it, man. That purple hat's hilarious.
And you have Ring of Jericho World Champion Chris Jericho versus Tomohiro Ishii,
That's
former Ring of Honor World Champion.
going to be Jericho going up, but that's going to be
It's going to be a heck of a match.
it's going to be fun to watch.
Yep. So that's your current.
It's going to be a great episode.
You also hear from William Regal.
Moxley comes out there.
And the Bow Wow and Jade Cargill incident airs.
Bathroom break.
So I think MJF, or not MJF, I think Mox shows up in some form tonight, whether it be a pre-tape promo or something, confrontation with Regal. But I could see him after tonight maybe taking a few weeks off. But it's not, I don't think he'll take much time off because they have a lot of big things coming up. Like as soon as the first of the year hits, I mean, they're returning to LA.
For Revolution, right?
No, just Dynamite.
Didn't they? I'm pretty
Revolution's not till like March.
I'm pretty sure they announced. Where's the Chase Center?
San Francisco, I think, is where.
So
Revolution is.
I was gonna say they announced. They announced that. I know there's been rumors, but they finally announced it the other night in the media scrum.
But yeah, they're going back to the West Coast kind of at the beginning of the year. Then they're doing San Francisco. I think that's where. But then they have the UK debut. I mean, so there's a lot of things coming up where I think him taking time off now for the next month or so would benefit them more, and then have him coming back for all the big debuts and market debuts and stuff they have coming up.
Yeah. So, I mean, that kind of wraps it up for AEW. But this weekend, we have WWE Survivor Series War Games. I love War Games. I've always been a big fan. And right now, the card ain't looking bad. I think there's still some questions out there, but what you have SmackDown Women's Championship with Shotzi Blackheart versus Ronda Rousey. I think Rousey retains. I just don't see her losing at War Games. You got But I am excited that Shotzi is finally kind of in the main feud. I think Shotzi's pretty good. You also have Finn Balor versus AJ Styles. That'll be a good match.
I think that'll be match of the night.
Maybe
Maybe not match of the night because I don't think it's gonna be in the cage, but I think on any given night it could be match of the night.
I look for a lot of obvious interference here.
Well, so speaking of interference, you have the Judgment Day, obviously, with Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio. You have the OC with Luke Gallows, Machine Gun, Carl Anderson, and Mention.
Oh, they changed it back.
They changed it back already.
Yeah.
Mia Yim.
I wonder why.
Then Mention.
Did they change it back?
Yeah. So I saw Mia Yim's. I saw today Mia Yim's name has been changed to Mention, which it means crazy in Korean. And literally, like 2 hours later, WWE has changed her name back to Mia Yim.
Okay, I say they definitely said mention last night on Raw.
Yeah, they changed it today.
Or Monday night on Raw.
What in the name of Vince McMahon are they thinking?
We should do this. That's a horrible idea.
Like,
well, here's the thing. I'll give it to Triple H, though. At least they have the wherewithal to say, you know what, that was a horrible idea.
But
Change it back.
but realize that before you put it on TV. Like what?
And she just came back. It wasn't like she's been on the roster and they just changed it. I mean, they could have they could have done it 2 weeks earlier and it would have just been like, oh, that's just her.
Who thought this was a good idea?
I mean, that's what they've done with Io Sky. I mean, she was Io Shirai forever. Returns Io. I still swear her Titan trunk.
I went back and watched it.
It said Io Shirai?
Yeah.
Okay. I know it wasn't crazy.
Vince is involved. Yeah, there's some sort of, hey guys, we need a name for this. You know, there's some what's that called? Armchair quarterbacking being done here.
You see the quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
The quarterback.
I think that's what he's doing. Because that's always been a Vince thing with these name changes. Hunter wouldn't do that. That's dumb.
So you have right now you have so you have that match. Then you have War Games with Team Bianca versus Team Damage Control. Right now for Damage Control, you've got
Mia Yim in that match too.
Yeah, so you have for
double duty.
No, the match is just AJ versus Finn.
Well, but she's gonna be escorting with him.
Well, maybe not.
She will be. Has to.
I mean, you may not see. I mean, you may see them come out and then they're too sweet.
I mean, the War Games match could be first, and she could get laid out.
So okay. you got Team Bianca, which right now is Bianca Belair,
Alexa Bliss,
Asuka, and Mia Yim. I was wanting to say Liv Morgan, but I was like, it's not Liv. I've messed this one up before.
To be announced mystery person that they're supposed to reveal Friday on SmackDown, but rumors are that there's a certain individual that's supposed to be returning on Saturday. So,
woo!
No, that's not where I was going.
Becky Lynch?
Yes.
Vomit. Needs to be Charlotte.
But it could be Becky. It could be Charlotte. It could be Sasha. It could be Naomi. The graphic, they have this mystery hooded figure in the graphic, and it looks like they have blue hair. So it makes you think it could be Sasha, but
Johnathan would be pissed.
I wouldn't. I just want to see her back on TV. She's probably my favorite woman's wrestler right now. So I just want her back somewhere.
On Team Damage Control, you got Damage Control, which is Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky, along with Nikki Cross and Rhea Ripley.
More double duty.
Then you have the men's War Games match, which I'm excited about this one. You got Brawlin' Bruce, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline.
I'm excited about the match because I think it's going to be brutal, which is what War Games should be. I'm not as much excited I mean, there's history between Sammy and Kevin Owens, and kind of everybody involved in the match. But I just think for Survivor Series to be such one of the key, top 4 pay-per-views, I think there's just a lack of build going into the match. Like, it just seemed like it was just kind of randomly put together. But I do think it'll be an entertaining match.
Yeah. Last night on Raw, we also found out we'll have the United States Championship match, triple threat with Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley versus Austin Theory.
So I don't know why Theory's getting a rematch to the belt after he cashed in and failed. However, I have not been the biggest fan of Theory, but since he failed to cash in, his promo last week was amazing, and I watched it last night, and his whole vibe is different.
Yeah, he's gone from smarmy prick to a dude who just wants to beat people.
Like, it almost, and I guess that is the case. It almost seemed like he took being Vince's handpicked person and being the way Roman Reigns was back before the bloodline, where it was just like being force fed, like this has got to be our guy, this is the up and coming guy, kind of thing. And now that that weight was off of him, he lost, and then it's just like, I'm just free to be me again.
Yeah. Yeah. Currently that's the card for Survivor Series, which is this Saturday.
Yeah, it's Saturday. I don't think they've announced it yet, but aren't we scheduled to get Bray versus LA Knight in that?
That's kind of what everything's pointing toward.
Hasn't been made official yet.
Not that I've read. I feel like they might make that official on SmackDown this Friday. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But last but not least, if you love wrestling and you don't have anything to do this weekend, guys, you may want to try and make it up to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, as it's Wrestlecade Weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
That is a holiday.
Yep. So it's going to be a heck of a show. Tickets are still available. Matter of fact, if you follow Wrestlecade on social media, there's been several people or whoever who are selling their packages or tickets because they're not going to be able to make it. And a lot of times you might be able to get them at a better price than trying to order them online. I know there's a lot of stuff that online is already sold out. A lot of meet and greets. I mean, you have people like the big Paul White forming on his big show. All sorts of all sorts of different wrestling current wrestlers, as well as Hall of Famers that are going to be there. Impact, a taping of Impact's going to be there.
Oh yeah, you got AML having their own show. You got Wrestlecade its own show the day after. Just formerly known as Summer Rae and Fandango are going to be there. You have
speaking of, you got
Dirty Dango.
Dirty Dango versus I saw that match today. It was Dirty Dango versus
Dirty Diana.
No. Oh man, I saw it. I was like, oh man, what a good match.
Carlito.
Oh yeah, Carlito. Yeah.
Shane Taylor versus Bandito versus Colby Carino versus Lindsay Dorado. How about Nick freaking Gage versus George South?
Yes.
That is going to be, just from a storytelling standpoint, is probably going to be one of my favorite moments of the whole weekend. Matt Hardy versus Jeff Jarrett. No.
So while you keep looking through the card, here's the schedule of events, guys. On Friday, November 25th, 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. In Winston 1, you have House of Kayfabe podcast.
What I would like to see before you run down you just started off. I'd like to see us be at Lowdown Popcast at Wrestlecade next year.
Oh, it could be there this year, but nobody else can go. Just saying.
I mean, as a podcast, not just as attendees.
I'm telling you, we could be there this year. But
pause for the cause.
Nobody can go.
Pause for the cause. Had we planned that ahead,
I quit my job right now.
had we planned that ahead, I'd have made sure we were there.
I'm saying we could be there. Just saying.
We can't do this fly by the wall stuff.
Yeah,
You got a week's notice.
that's
It's 2 days.
wrong.
It's Wednesday.
You know what that means.
So no, I agree. Maybe next year.
I know for a fact. I know the guy. I know a guy.
Yeah, well, yeah, we do. 3 to 5 p.m. in Winston 1, you got Franchise, the live podcast with Shane Douglas.
I've actually heard they have a lot of media attendees this year.
They do.
A lot of what?
Media attendees.
Yeah. I was waiting. I felt like there should have been more coming after that statement. I was like,
No, it was just a
I
statement.
just saw that they said that they had a lot of requests for like media credentials from a lot of places. So.
5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Winston 3, you got meet and greets. And then 7 to 9:30 p.m. in Winston 2, you have Impact Wrestling. On Saturday, November 26th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Winston 2, Winston 3 in the Salem Ballroom, you have FanFest. 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. in Piedmont Hall. Downstairs, you have the Super Show.
that's a monster.
And then 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. in Winston 1, you have My World live with Jonathan's favorite person, Jeff Jarrett, and friends.
You know, one match I remember seeing, Elliot, you'd appreciate this one. One match I remember seeing in person at Wrestlecade was Joey and Matt Lynch.
Oh, yeah.
The first time I saw the Lynch brothers versus Lucha Bros.
Speaking of Joey Lynch, did I tell you I ran into him at Universal Studios?
What?
Yeah.
How's he doing?
Good. I said, I ran into him. I looked at him. I said, by any chance, is your name Joey Lynch? He
Oh,
said,
my God. You didn't ask him that.
Yeah, I said, are you Joey Lynch? He said, yeah. I said, man, I just want to say, hey, I said, I'm Elliot, ring announcer for PCW. I've worked with you a couple times. Just want to, I keep up with you on Facebook. Just want to say, hey, and hope
Were
you're
you wearing your Lowdown Popcast
hope you're
shirt?
doing well. I was not.
He was wearing Mickey Mouse.
No, not a Universal.
He was wearing ears.
No. Hi, pal. Oh, boy.
So, yeah, I saw the Lucha Bros versus
The
Lynch brothers.
Lynch Mob.
Lynch Mob, whatever. It was amazing.
That's cool, man.
Absolutely crazy. The things you can see at Wrestlecade.
Yeah. Sunday, November 27th, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Winston 2, you have the worship service for George South. George South will be preaching.
Shut up! I'm preaching.
Shut up, you sinners! Just kidding.
I love George.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. 10:15 to 12 p.m. in Winston 1, you have Omega Championship Wrestling reunion panel.
That's crazy.
That'll be fun. Matt Hardy.
I was going to say,
I'll
that's
be
the Hardy
there.
Brothers. You got to be involved. Shannon Moore.
Noon to 6 p.m. in Winston 3, you have meet and greets. 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. in Winston 2, you have Ladies Night Out 12 live wrestling. And 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., you have the AML wrestling the day after in Winston 2. So, yeah, I believe Hangman's going to be there. They have him on the poster. I'm assuming he'll be there. You got Matt Hardy versus Jeff Jarrett on the card. Eva Elise will be there for Ladies Night Out. And looks like, Claudio Castagnoli will be there. Matt Cardona will be there. Oh, you have Matt Cardona and Brian Myers versus Heath and Rhino for the Impact Tag Team Championships. Also have Aubrey. Aubrey will be there. David Crockett, Tony Schiavone. A lot of awesome names. Two of our favorites, the Dawsons, will be there.
Yeah, they had a big match with Skyler.
So Rock and Roll Express, Kerry Morton and George South will be facing John Skyler, Beer City Bruiser, and the Dawson Brothers. Be a good match. Be a good match, good week. APA is going to be there, Magnum TA. Chris Statlander, Big Shotty Lee Johnson, Amber Nova, Suicide, Brock Anderson, Arn Anderson, Caleb with a K, also known as Caleb Connolly, the Steiner Brothers, Ricky Steamboat, Tessa Blanchard, Matt Hardy, Julia Hart, Molly Holly, Tony Schiavone, Lex Luger, And I think I said the APA already. So, yeah. And that's just a handful. Dax Harwood, he'll be there for a meet and greet. Randy Hogan will be there.
Randy. Brother.
Here's one. The New Japan Pro Wrestling champion, Sling Blade Jay White, will be there.
That's actually quite big.
Brody King will be there. Man, and just a ton of other names. So, guys, if you're not doing anything,
if you go to Wrestlecade's website, there's a whole. I mean, there's
go to
whole list of attendees.
You go to the website, follow them on social media, and you'll be able to see all those. And you can also check to see what tickets are available and get tickets if necessary. So, yeah. So that's the week wrap up for wrestling.
Wrestling.
That's what we call it down here in the South, in the Midlands of South Carolina and beyond. Good old wrestling.
World Championship Wrestling.
WCR. So yeah. So I got a question.
Answer.
I want to give you 3 names.
Uh-oh.
And I want you to tell me start them, bench them, or fire them.
Wrestling related?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, this is football related.
Pro?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm down. I can do this.
So I'm gonna give you three names. Peyton Manning.
You said start, bench, and what?
Start,
Fire.
bench, fire.
Okay.
Fire them.
You're fired.
So you got I'm gonna say Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, and John Elway. No, let's back up. John Elway, Troy Aikman, and Brett Favre. Bench them, start them, fire them.
I gotta jot this down. I'm gonna forget. Hang on.
Brett Favre,
Brett Favre.
John Elway, Troy Aikman. Those are your 3 quarterbacks to choose.
Oh, no way.
You can start them, bench them, fire them.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning's not in that mix.
See, that's why I got jotted down. Brett Favre, John Elway,
Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman. Huh, he's fired. All right. You want to go first? Go ahead.
I think I would start Favre.
I saw
I'd start Favre, bench Elway, fire Aikman.
Bingo. That's exactly what I would do. That's a no-brainer.
All right, so let's try one that might be a little bit harder.
Well, you throw Aikman in there with the greats. So I mean, Aikman is a great.
All right, so
Wait a minute. Wait. You throw Aikman in there, but the problem with Aikman is he's glass. You know, concussion protocol. Like
it's crazy that you say that. Like that wasn't where I thought you were going to go. Just because as a Cowboys fan, I thought you would have Aikman. I didn't think you'd fire Aikman, but my reason for Favre being the starter was like Favre never missed any time.
So if you were to change Favre with Peyton Manning or Aikman with Peyton Manning, would that change anything for you guys?
I hate Peyton Manning, so fire
Manning.
Manning. As soon as you said Manning, I was like, well, I already know who I'm firing.
Yeah.
But Johnathan, you got Cowboys quarterbacks, and then you got Peyton Manning. Who you fired? Peyton.
I also knew you felt that way about Peyton Manning, so I went ahead and just changed that out real quick.
You could have said anybody else.
For me, it's hard. It's hard not to ever. It would be impossible for me to never start Brett Favre over anybody, just because of what he did. Not only in Green Bay, but the success he had, the little bit of success he had in his season with the Jets. But when he went to Minnesota, man, last 2-3 seasons of his career, he had his best statistical year.
All right, so how about bench him, start him, or fire him, or start him, bench him, fire him? Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa,
okay,
Jalen Hurts.
No, that's easy for me.
Okay,
I feel like Josh Allen's automatically the starter.
Yes.
I'm starting Josh Allen. I'm sitting Hurts. I'm firing Tua.
Yeah, that's mine.
All right, so what if we said Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, and Patrick Mahomes?
That one's tougher.
Starting Mahomes. I'm sitting Allen. I'm firing Prescott.
That's probably mine too. So maybe it wasn't that hard.
No, I mean it's not hard to know who you'd want, but I love Dak. I mean,
Taylor Heineke, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa.
Jalen start, Tua sit, Heineke gone.
Yeah, that'd be mine. This is weird that me and Shane's agreeing on stuff.
On every single one.
All right, so if you went wide receiver, if you went Jerry Rice,
Okay.
Michael Irvin,
Uh-huh.
and Lynn Swan. I'm just going. I said
I'm
it,
taking Michael Irvin.
or Fran Tarkenton.
I'm taking Michael Irvin. I'm sitting Jerry, whoever the third one.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think who
Jerry's my starter.
well, Jerry would
I
be my
think-
starter too.
Jerry's the greatest wide receiver of all
But
time.
I'm trying to think who.
It's
Okay,
eight,
okay.
bro.
Here we go.
But Irvin would probably be the one I
Jerry,
would
Michael,
bench.
Randy, Jerry Rice, Michael Irvin, Randy Moss. Oh hey!
I'm starting Randy. I'm sitting Jerry. I'm firing Michael.
But you had Michael over Jerry.
Yeah,
in the
but
first
but you throw Randy Moss in there, that completely changes everything for me. Because Randy Moss, I look at what he did in New England.
So Irvin would definitely be the one I would fire. I don't know if I could start Moss
What was that?
over Jerry.
Don't know what that was, but about tainted anything.
I like Moss better as a player, I think,
Absolutely.
but it'd be hard to start him over Jerry. I mean, Jerry was the best wide receiver for like his whole career, and he had a long career. So
He was killing it still in Oakland.
I don't. It'd be hard.
Do we all agree that Walter Payton's the best running back ever?
No,
No,
not even close.
really.
Why you act all surprised?
I'm just surprised.
He's disappointed.
No, I'm just surprised. So Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith. Start him, bench, and fire him.
Oh, Barry was so good.
So that's
Oh my
you said the
God.
Walter thing. I think Sanders is a better running back. However, Sanders didn't play. I mean, he just didn't play long. I mean, like, you know, he had.
That's not
but,
a question. Start him, bench, and fire him.
Well, I know that. I'd start Barry. I don't know who I'd fire.
So Barry, who was it? Barry. Emmett?
Barry, Emmett,
Walter.
Walter.
Can I have Barry in his prime?
Oh,
Can I have Barry in his prime?
His whole career was prime.
Well, yeah, but he only lasted like 9
No,
years.
it's Barry, Emmett, Walter. That's just it. Start him, fire him.
Emmett was so durable.
I
I would start Barry, sit Emmett. Walter's gone.
So I think I'd start Barry. I'd sit Walter, and Emmett would be gone. As much as I mean, Emmett was like my favorite player as a kid because
Emmett is amazing.
But
All 5'9" of them, 5'10" of them.
I mean, Walter's up there. I don't know, I think Barry was the overall package.
Barry was
All right,
phenomenal.
last one.
Okay.
This has kind of been like a Shane event. Kind of.
Well, good. Well, make this a tough one where me and Johnathan aren't going to agree.
So this is starting linebacker. All right. You got LT, Lawrence Taylor,
Start,
Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher.
sit, fire. In that order. LT was nasty. I'm sorry.
Who'd you fire?
The third one in order.
Brian Urlacher.
Yeah.
What if I change him out with Dick Butkus?
Fire him.
I mean, it's called the Butkus Award,
I'm starting
not
LT.
the LT Award.
I'm starting LT. Period.
I'd probably start. So it would be tough for me to start or bench LT and Ray Lewis, but I do think Urlacher would be the one I would fire. But I'd probably have to start LT.
See? Look at
Reggie
it.
White, Michael Strahan, J.J. Watt.
Reggie White start. Straight hand sit. J.J. Watt fire.
That'd be fun too.
Yeah. J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt.
Okay.
Trying to think who another defensive end is. That's comparable.
Jason Taylor.
Sure.
Okay.
Miami Dolphin.
I'm starting TJ Watt. I'm sitting Jason Taylor, and I'm firing the first one. Who'd you say?
What about James Harrison?
So he said JJ.
Dude, James
so I would
Harrison's a freaking beast,
start
dude.
JJ, bench Jason, and fire TJ.
I just like TJ because he's younger. Yeah, and gonna last a little bit.
Can we talk about how much of a beast James Harrison is, or was?
He still is. I mean, his workout
Is
videos
he still playing?
no, but
I
his
know he
workout
came back last
videos
year.
are
He
like-
Could.
Yeah, I know he came back last year.
You know who else looked good this past week? Jason Pierre-Paul.
Yeah.
Like-
Him and his 8 fingers.
Yeah.
You know who else made some
Dude,
big plays?
he got a pick. TJ Watt got a pick against Joe Burrow.
If you say McCaffrey, I swear to God.
No, I wasn't going there, but McCaffrey did make some plays.
Okay, but
I was
we know
gonna say-
Eckler had the better day.
No, he
did
didn't.
not.
He did. He scored.
That does not make it a
He
better day.
scored.
It does not make it a
McCaffrey
better
didn't
day.
score.
McCaffrey didn't play the fourth quarter.
Doesn't matter. Sit on the
McCaffrey
bench
had
where
more
you
yards.
belong. 7 more yards. Sit on the bench.
Okay.
7 more yards.
But they also won by 30.
I don't care. Eckler had the better day.
Speaking of, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was on a transition.
I was going to say, Ndamukong Suh had some plays for the Eagles.
I hate that he's in Philly.
I
That
know
makes
you- I know you do. That's why I had to bring it up.
Eagles.
because we're gonna see.
But
them
I also
here
laughed because we recorded the podcast and Shane's reading the article and where he's like, I was like, when is that article published? And he was like, oh, this was before preseason. But I didn't know Sue was a free agent. And he
Yeah.
was still a free agent. But then like the next day he signed with the Eagles. And I was like, oh, let's go eat Shane up.
Well, how about another on the other side of the NFC East too? The likelihood that looks like Odell Beckham's heading to the Cowboys. I am thrilled. What do you think of that, there, Johnathan? He's meeting with Dallas this week. Everybody's lobbying for him. I'm interested to see. And here's the thing. Here's the problem, though. Odell has to go in knowing that he's going to be a 3, maybe a 2, maybe a 2.
2, not a 3. He'll be a 2. But I think
He was a 2 last year, though, behind Cooper Kupp.
As long as he's okay with that.
I think it's going to be. I don't think he's going to pan out.
See,
I don't think he's going to be what Dallas wants him to be.
I wonder if he returns.
Dallas or the fans.
I'm thinking now that Cooper Kupp's out the equation for a little bit. I'm thinking it down on a little fire on them, saying, "Oh yeah, I could be the number 1 in L.A."
I think LA's out. I think it's down to Dallas and New York. You know, Dallas and the Giants play on Thanksgiving Day, which is a tradition for the Dallas Cowboys. It's always probably my favorite game of the year. I love
Turduncan.
turducken. You ever had turducken, Elliot?
Isn't that like a turkey stuffed with a duck?
And stuffed into the side of chicken.
No, I've never had it.
It's phenomenal. You'd love it.
I'm sure I would.
Meat. But Thanksgiving football is my favorite game of the year. I enjoy it more than the Super Bowl just because it's the food and the festivity and the time with family and football.
Well, that's because Dallas is playing,
Football.
Well, there's
and they're not playing in the Super Bowl.
There's other teams that play. There's other teams.
Turkey Bowl.
Hey, you can't be hating on my Dallas Cowboys after what they did to the Minnesota Vikings, 40-3.
I can guarantee the Cowboys are going to be playing on Thanksgiving. They won't be at the Super Bowl, but they'll be on Thanksgiving.
Hey, number 1 defense in the NFL looks absolutely amazing.
5, but
Number 1 in total yards allowed. Dallas Cowboys.
but that's not. That doesn't make them the number 1 defense.
That's number 1.
It usually goes by points allowed, but yeah,
What's points per allowed? Where are they at?
I don't know.
because if like all these great New England defenses over the years would allow the opponent to march up and down the field, but would stop them from scoring touchdowns.
True.
Number 1 team in sacks. Dallas Cowboys.
It's called a bend don't break defense.
Number 1 team in yards per allowed. Dallas Cowboys.
It's week 12.
Yeah, I can't believe, man, how fast this is going this
So
year.
Dallas is number 1 scoring defense.
Number 1 scoring defense, Dallas Cowboys. They are absolutely on a tear.
And it's because of the way they played against the Vikings.
Well, that's just one game. This whole season, the Cowboys, well, other than two games, they're absolutely prolific, man, and people are like underrating them. The secondary is playing phenomenal. You know, what's really setting Dallas apart this year is the front line, the pass rush, man. The ability to get to the quarterback. What they did to
Micah Parsons is what sets them apart.
And DeMarcus Lawrence.
Well,
those two, what they did to Kirk Cousins, Kirk Cousins saw the dirt.
It's Kirk Cousins,
but it's also the Minnesota Vikings. Hello, it's an 8-1 Minnesota Vikings team.
Yeah, but let's be clear. Nobody has ever said, but it's the Minnesota Vikings and strike fear into anyone.
Yes, but you're the number one team in the NFC right now.
Yeah, but
number one team.
Yeah, but
that's the Eagles.
Well, that's debatable, but we'll find out here soon. Christmas Eve game, Cowboys and Vikings, or Cowboys and Eagles. That should be really good.
Power rankings. Dallas is now number 3. They were previously number 8.
I would say behind Philly, and I would say behind
Kansas City.
Kansas City 2, Philly 1. No,
Kansas City 1, Philly 2.
Yeah, I think that's more fair. Somebody had them ranked below Buffalo and below another team earlier. I'm like, that's kind of shoddy, but
Buffalo's starting. I don't.
Well,
they need to change something. They haven't really been playing
since Allen got that injury a couple weeks ago. Man, haven't been normal.
You know what it was?
Elbow.
You traded him off your fantasy team, and
thank the Lord, they take it.
F you, Shane.
Yep.
Well, but, hey, Tennessee's up to number 6 now.
Tennessee's no slouch.
So and the 49ers are up to 5.
Derrick Henry be running 250 yards on you.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about the Titans a little bit, but here some quick things with the Titans.
Before you start going off on the Tennessee Titans, guys, just let me I'm thankful y'all let me have my braggadocious moments here, because it is rare that as a Cowboys fan I get to celebrate these, but we all know how it goes in the postseason.
So Tennessee's 7-3 right now.
Yeah, Cowboys record.
Tied for second in the AFC, but they've had to start a rookie QB twice that did not play very well. Their top pass rusher or edge rusher is out for the season. Our one of the top left tackles in the league has been out for the season, and then our top draft pick from last year, we traded, and our top draft pick from last year, and we traded our number 1 wide receiver, and so, I think they're 1 or 2 as far as like the amount of players they've started this season, like the amount of players that have been on the starting roster this year with injuries and stuff, and they're still 7-3, which that was the case last year. Last year they had played by far and away like the most in history, most players that have been like on a roster, because they signed a player for a week because they were just ravaged with injuries. So it's definitely a well-coached team for sure. I think Vrabel does a great job. But I want to pose a question to Shane and see what he thinks. So, do you think Derrick Henry hits 2,000 yards again this year?
Yes.
So he hit 2020, which was the year he hit it. Through the same amount of games, he had 1,079 yards and 9 rushing touchdowns. And this year, through 10 games, he's got 1,010 yards and 10 rushing touchdowns. So it's definitely doable. I mean, he's
got an extra game too.
Yeah, so he's not that far off.
Well, you get an extra game now.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Did they have that game in 2020?
No, it's just 16 game season then. Now it's 17. But dude, I'll be honest with you. I'm just excited that it's a possibility that hey, I would love to see a Tennessee Titans Cowboys Super Bowl. Just saying. I would love to see a deep run by the Cowboys at all, period. Just give me an NFC Championship appearance.
So Tennessee and the Cowboys play each other during the season.
That'll be well, forget the Super Bowl. That'd be a blast.
Week 17.
Ooh, final dude.
Thursday night, December 29th.
Amazon Prime? A Prime game? Are you effing kidding me?
Cowboys at Titans.
Oh, that'd be so much fun. There's gonna be so much trash talking.
I'm on PTO that week, so I might have to come over and watch the game.
Oh, I'm not missing that. That's gonna be forget the number 1 defense. That's gonna be 35-32, something ridiculous. It's just been a great year of football, man. I'm ecstatic.
This was a good week for sports for me. So we'll get to the second part in a little bit, because we haven't started talking about college football yet. But the Titans played on Thursday night this week against Green Bay and looked phenomenal. Like it was one of the few, like not few games, because I think Tannehill's played well during the during the season, the last couple of years, is when they get to the postseason. I think they start to rely. I think the play call starts to rely too much on Henry because he is the focus of the offense, and they just get off of like what got him there. But I mean, Tannehill was on point Thursday night. I mean, he was hitting pinpoint accuracy throws to receivers all night. So if we continue to play like that, we'll be in good shape.
So, stats-wise, best fantasy rankings you have is going to be San Francisco with Dallas at 5. Dallas does boast the best pass to rush win rate at second with 42 sacks. Also, 30.2% pressure rate. That's first in the league. San Francisco is considered the number 1 NFL defense based on their second fewest NFL yards per play at 4.7, with an 82.5 average QB rating, a 9-to-9 touchdown interception ratio, and a 2.7% pass touchdown rate. San Francisco also boasts the best run defense in the NFL, allowing only 3.4 yards per carry, totaling 81.1 rushing yards per game. I'd be interested in if San Francisco and Dallas face each other in the regular season. I personally feel like that Dallas would have the edge up on that based on their offense and everything.
I do not.
You don't?
No. I think San Francisco's offense is loaded.
I haven't followed.
We were going through that today.
Loaded.
I obviously, to be honest, I haven't really followed their offense. Looking at sports, not the top 5 offenses: Cincinnati, Miami, Minnesota. Well, we saw what Minnesota did. The Bills and the Chiefs. That's the top 5. The Cowboys are ranked at 8. And the Niners are ranked, well, not even top 10.
What, in offense?
In offense.
McCaffrey's only been there like 2 weeks. I think he changed the whole.
And this is overall. And this isn't fantasy. This is just offense. They were 19.
So I think Dallas got an interesting close of the year, man. So they got the Giants at home. I got us winning there. They got the Colts at home. That's a win. They got the Texans at home. That's a win. Jaguars away. That's gonna be tough.
I wouldn't be so quick to march the Colts as a win. Man, I don't. They ended up losing this past week though, didn't they?
To the Eagles.
Yeah. Well,
fly Eagles fly.
Number 2 team in the NFL right now.
EAGLES.
What was the final score?
17-16, I think.
That was
a close game.
It was a fluke win too.
The reason I say I wouldn't be so quick to mark that as a win is just the simple fact that, in my opinion, despite what Bill Cowher says, Jeff Saturday has injected something into the Colts recently, and they've been playing with
steroids,
a little bit of moxie. So,
juicing it up
for sure.
I don't know. The Colts are a 4-win team. I'm not too worried about the Colts.
But the Cowboys have a favorable schedule going forward.
Half and half. I mean, the Giants. I still don't think the Giants are that good. They're to me, they're not a 7-3 team.
12-4, 12-5 on the year.
Cowboys?
Yeah.
Hang on, I gotta go back.
They're currently what, 7-3?
7-3. Okay.
I definitely see 2 more losses on the Cowboys schedule for sure.
1, 2, 3, 4. Worst case scenario, Cowboys go 5-2 to end the year.
I wouldn't say worst case.
Put them 12-5.
That's worst case scenario for me. Now,
to me, I think that's what they will do. I think there's
my 2 question games are the home game against the Eagles and of course the away game at the Titans. I think that could be a split. To be frank, I don't think the Cowboys will go back-to-back losses.
I get what Elliot's saying. So I think the Cowboys will beat the Colts, but the Colts could put up a fight.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But I think
we just saw what happened to the Eagles. Anybody could put up a fight in the NFL.
Jaguars and Texans, I think Cowboys win no problem. The Giants game, even though I don't think the Giants are a 7-3 team, it's in NFC East. There's always
so competitive,
and then that's why I think the Commanders game too
now
could just
if the Cowboys lose against the Eagles are going to take the division. Now, the Cowboys are going to have to win against the Eagles and beat the Commanders, too, in the last week of the year. So, anyway, it's that time of year. It's going to be interesting.
Titans pretty much have the AFC. I mean, it's not locked because anything can happen, but, I mean, they have a sizable lead over the Colts for...
Yeah, they've already carved their path. They're good.
For the South, and unless they just completely drop off, they should be good there. And their schedule...
Just crazy to think, man. I go back and look, because I remember game 1 of the year was the Cowboys and the Bucks. We scored a field goal, the whole game. And you come back and the Cowboys haven't scored less than 20 points a game. Last few games, 49, 31, 40. So they're doing something. I don't know if it's Kellen Moore. I don't know if it's McCarthy. I don't know if it's Romo being back. That's about right? 3 weeks.
Romo
or
Prescott.
I got Romo on my mind. Thanks, Elliot.
Titans have a little bit harder schedule, so they play the Bengals this week.
Oof.
They said there's a chance Jamar comes back this week. If he's out, I still think the Titans take it.
Too.
I still think the Titans take it, but that'll be a good game. They play
Higgins.
The Titans play the Eagles next week, so that's gonna be a good should be a good game and a tough matchup. Then they play the Jaguars. They play the Chargers. Chargers are better than 5-5, I think. Then they play the Texans. Then they play the Cowboys. Then they play the Jaguars. So, I mean, there's a few for sure wins on there, I think, but they have a little bit more harder games.
But realistically, if you were to pick your two teams right now, NFC, AFC, who's your Super Bowl teams?
Kansas City. Yeah, I'd probably say Kansas City, and I'd probably say the Eagles.
I would have said the Eagles if I didn't see that game that they just played.
They still, champions find the way to win, no matter how pretty or ugly it is.
So I think Kansas City from the AFC, that same statement you just made. I mean, winners find a way to win.
Granted, I'm not saying it's the Cowboys.
Wouldn't bet against Mahomes. NFC,
and I want to say why he comes up with his NFC. I wanted to say the Bills, but because I like the Bills, I'd love to see the Bills win it all. I want to see that because I like Josh Allen, but it's hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes.
NFC, I mean, based on what I've seen the last few weeks, I'd say the 49ers.
I was actually, believe it or not, Seahawks. Seahawks is my sleeper.
I was going to say, it's definitely a sleeper pick. I don't think many people would put that.
I don't think Geno has what it takes to carry the team.
Geno does good on my fantasy team.
He's played well.
He's played incredibly well. Now, how does that translate to a postseason? Don't know. Dallas does great regular season, chokes in the postseason. That's what we do.
So I'll live and die on the hill that McCaffrey is a much better player than Eckler. But I think what he did for the 49ers do have a really good defense. And I think what McCaffrey did for the offense, you saw last night.
Allows him to take a quarter off.
It was, you can't not focus on McCaffrey. He's so good. But, you have McCaffrey, Debo. Kittle.
Ayuk.
Kittle hasn't really
played.
Kittle hasn't really played.
Who? I can't say his name.
Brandon Ayuk.
Ayuk. I did say it right.
Hadn't really played well I would say last year and a half. But if you take Kelsey out of the equation, Kittle's in the discussion for top tight end.
When
Jimmy G.
So
Mark Andrews.
And Jimmy G is nasty.
Kittle, Andrews, and Kelsey would be my top 3 tight ends. You have a top 3 tight end, a top 3 running back. I think Debo's, I wouldn't say underrated because I think people know what he can do. I just don't
10.
think, for sure top 10, maybe top 5. He had
Jimmy G's top 10.
Second most touchdowns or yards, I think, last year from a wide receiver.
Well,
so the offense is dangerous.
The thing with Debo is where do you put him? What do you classify him as?
you can put him anywhere.
Classify him as
That's the most dangerous player.
Well, and the reality is you could also do the same thing with McCaffrey. McCaffrey can split out. He did it his entire collegiate career. He's been primarily running back. And
I still
the
hold
majority
to
of his
it.
career, though.
He never touches his 2019 year. Ever for the rest of his career. Never.
So I
That may be true, but I will say it's because he gets nowhere near the touches he got his 2019 year. And that's not on him. That's just on the offense.
I kind of agree with that. I'm almost willing to bet.
Take that
I'm
T
almost
bet.
willing to bet a T.
We'd be waiting a long time,
No,
bro.
I know. I'll make it
A 6-year
I
bet.
know, I'll make it a more time sensitive. I'm almost willing to bet a T that, with the caveat that he has to stay healthy, that he does it next year, if he's healthy the whole year.
That's too long of a wait.
But that's just 1 year. You were talking about career. I'm talking about just 1 year. Like, I think he'll do it next year.
Well, I can't bet a T on it. It's too long.
See, I prefer to look at yards per carry with a caveat of he has to get X amount of carries. Because if the guy only gets 150 touches but gets 1,500 yards, to where before he had
It's 10 yards a carry.
I know, that's my point. Where before
Oh, that ain't ever happening.
he had no, but I'm just trying to prove,
Oh, I
I'm
was
trying
like,
to prove a point.
Let's make that T bet right now.
If the guy gets 150 yards, 150 carries, but gets 1,500 yards, versus, and you're saying he'll never touch the season he had in 2019 where he had, and I'm just throwing a number out there, he had 2,000 yards, but maybe he had 300 carries. Well, his 150 carry, 1,500 yard season is a better season because he's getting 10 yards a carry versus whatever it may have been.
So
278 times he carried the ball in 2019. 278.
And what was his yards per carry?
4.9. So say 5 yards a carry.
And has any others? I mean, I think his other seasons are around 3.6, 4.3.
4.5, 4.6. He's averaging 5.1 in San Francisco right now.
So,
it's possible. I could be wrong. I might eat crow. I'm just saying.
So
question for it.
Answer.
How many players are on NFL roster?
53, 52, 53. 53.
Speaking of being
53.
wrong, so it is 53. But so if that's an NFL roster,
Here we go.
was Josh Rosen ever on the 53-man roster for the Browns?
he was not.
Sir,
He was not.
that was not the bet.
I'm
Did
just saying.
Josh
I'm just
Rosen
saying.
play for the Browns?
The wording of the bet was,
Just saying.
did he play for the Browns?
The answer is,
He did not.
you be wrong.
The answer is, according to video footage, he completed a touchdown pass in a Browns game, although it was preseason.
I mean, like, if you want to do that, I mean, I wear a Titans jersey every Sunday. Doesn't mean I play for the Titans. And, if
You're not getting paid by them?
if you go by, you got the spring game every year at Carolina. They got celebrities running out there catching touchdown passes. That doesn't mean they play for the Gamecocks.
Sir, you are stretching.
You walked into that one.
You are stretching.
You said 53 players on a roster.
You are stretching. Sore loser. Speaking of college football, it's about that time.
Man, 53. That's about as many points as USC beat Tennessee by.
That was so sweet.
Man, I like.
I'm not getting hyped up.
Hold on. No, well,
I'm not.
I just want to say that if it wasn't for Full Gear being Saturday night, that probably would have been the most entertaining Gamecock game I would have watched since they beat Alabama. But I
can agree.
preoccupied by watching Full Gear. But
And I was in shock. like Johnathan kept showing Shane. Look. The score kept.
I mean,
going.
every time I would check my phone, it was like 14-7, and I was like, oh man, we're keeping up.
Every
And then,
time you check your phone, touchdown Gamecocks.
well, it was
very,
like
very
14-7.
weird.
I cut, I'd like watch a little bit and then pull it back up. It was 21-7. I was like, oh man, like we scored again. And then I started cutting on the feed, and I mean, it felt like we could do no wrong. I mean, like, even watching the feed and watching the highlights. I mean,
it was 8
like,
or 9 touchdowns.
Now, here's the thing: 10 possessions, 9 touchdowns. Well, let me back up. It was actually 12 possessions.
But still.
12 possessions. First half, time ran out. Second half, time ran out at the end. They had one punt at the beginning of the third quarter.
That was the most impressive game from start to finish I have seen.
Everything else was touchdown.
In 10, 12 years.
It was, and it was, again,
So what happened?
they suck me in every time as soon as I'm like just
Ready to quit.
not ready to quit, because I'll be a Gamecock fan for life. But every time I'm just like, okay, like, they're just not, it's just not.
Let's go on a
not
limb.
the hype I had for before the season. They sucked me back in, because that was what I wanted to see from that, or the expectation from the beginning of the year.
Wait a minute. If that team plays like that all year long, there's no team that we can't beat. Period. Now, the inconsistency is the problem. So you saw what we just did. Now we go to Death Valley. What are you going to do there? That's why I'm not even getting hyped.
I can't help but get hyped.
You can.
This could have happened. No, this could have happened 4 or 5 weeks ago, and it would have been good then.
The problem is when these people
it happened the week before the Clemson game, and so I'm just it makes the Clemson game more interesting by far.
We'll see how they're only 14-point favorites.
Especially, I think it makes it especially interesting, though, that phenomenal offensive game that USC had, but Clemson held their opponent to 98 yards total. Holding a team.
So give me that offense versus that defense's game. I want to see who wins.
Holding any Power 5 team to under 100 yards total offense, you don't hear about. You don't hear that. When's the last? All right, so South Carolina's offense has not been that good this year. Yes or no?
Inconsistent.
They've not been that good.
And how many times have they been held under 100 yards this year?
I don't think at all.
Exactly. That's my point. You don't hear about that happening. Clemson turned the ball over 3 times. They still won 40-10.
I'm interested. I'm like, here's the thing. I'm not some unrealistic person like all these people are out here. Yeah, go Gamecocks. We're gonna win. We're gonna win the Bourbon Bowl. Whatever they're out there doing.
Bourbon Bowl.
Yeah, whatever. I'm being facetious, but they're out there going crazy, man. I get it. The one thing to be excited, but the problem is we've gotten excited so much, or in anticipation of such high expectations, where you only get let down every time. And we've only lost to Clemson 7 in a row. I can remember when it was we were up 5-0. So like it's nothing. I'm not getting excited over this. I'm intrigued. I'm gonna watch the game in excitement, but in no way, shape, or form will you hear me to say I'm gonna guarantee a Gamecock victory, because that's just not gonna happen.
I'm not going to guarantee a Gamecock victory, but I do have a T-bet if Elliot wants to take it. For Elliot, not for Shane.
Wait a minute.
I think Carolina covers the spread.
14.
Give me a win.
I can't do that.
Why not? You have that little confidence in your Gamecocks?
I mean, Clemson's a top 10.
It doesn't matter.
Well, we just did beat
y'all just beat the top number 1 ranked offense in the country, number 5 ranked team in the country. You lack that much confidence in your Gamecocks? Yes or no? If you do, no T-bet. If you don't, bring it on.
I guess we don't have no T-bet.
Oh, shiznit. Dang it, Johnathan, I was rooting for you. I was rooting for you.
We might have a T-bet by Saturday.
No.
By Saturday.
You go ahead and solidify it right now. Let the people want to know, Johnathan.
But as much as Shane talks about like the inconsistency, so I see more of a path that we get blown out 56-0 than I do a path that we might squeak out a win.
Mine's simple.
I think it's going to be close.
Mine's simple. Clemson wins, I get a T. Clemson loses, you get a T.
I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm
here. So here's my question.
30-something.
So, speaking of rivalry week, you've got Ohio State versus Michigan, 2 versus 3.
By the way, Clemson has a way in here.
They do. And
Southern Cal versus Notre Dame.
Welcome.
They almost had a wide open lane.
Yeah.
If
Freaking
TCU would have lost and Michigan would have lost.
That would have been
week.
Wild.
They could have just walked right back in.
Literally.
So Southern Cal versus Notre Dame in Notre Dame. Ohio State versus Michigan.
Come on, Carolina.
So what? So Ohio State versus Michigan. That one's kind of. I mean, one of those lose. One of them get pushed out.
I think Michigan loses.
Southern Cal versus Notre Dame. With the streak Notre Dame's been on as of late.
I still think Southern Cal takes it.
And then now does Southern Cal.
I mean, I see a path where Clemson gets back in. I mean, there's a path available. I don't see it. I still don't see it happening. But
I think Clemson gets to 5.
I could see that.
Unless TCU.
We like number 5s.
Unless TCU, gets to 5. We're not number 5. We get to 5. We're number 7 right now. College football, it just came out.
Let's say this. If Carolina somehow manages to finish this season beating the number 5 ranked team and then turn around and beating the number 7 ranked team afterwards,
Clemson's
the hype
8.
for this year is not going to be nothing compared to the hype. As long as we win the bowl game, the hype going into next year will be
You're 7.
No. College football rankings were 8.
Oh.
Just released a couple hours ago. LSU at 5, moved up to 5. Southern Cal at 6. TCU at 4. Michigan at 3. Ohio State at 2. Georgia at 1.
Then you got one of my favorite games to watch too, the old Iron Bowl.
Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Alabama.
Where's the game at?
Alabama.
Duh. The state of Alabama.
It's in the state.
Duh. Well, and
LSU's home.
You set me up so good for that.
LSU will get knocked out.
Yeah,
because they'll lose to Georgia in the SEC championship. If Southern Cal loses to Notre Dame, they are out. Or they possibly lose to Oregon in the Pac-12 championship.
I think it's funny because you spent so much time last week just going through all the scenarios about all the top 10 teams and how they could get there, and then in 1 week Tennessee loses, and it's didn't go over that scenario.
No, it didn't. Didn't go through that at all. But no, I'll tell you what I told someone. If it'll definitely make for an interesting game if the defense,
our offense has to show up first.
If Clemson's defense plays like they did this past week, and South Carolina's offense plays like they did this past week, it'll definitely make for an interesting game.
Rattler showed up
against my better judgment. Because, you could talk about Carolina beating Tennessee all you want, and we also got blown out by an unranked Florida team the week before. I'll take the bet.
All right.
Straight up.
Cool.
For the sake of the pod.
I don't.
So Carolina,
and it'll be nice.
For the sake of the pop.
Yeah, and it'll be nice just to have a straight up bet where there's no underlying messages or wording or
ended a tie. I would cry.
A college game can't end in a tie. They'll play 10 overtimes.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes it a little bit better.
Now, listen, I will say this, and I know you're a Gamecock fan, and I know they've done amazing stuff with their facilities, adding the LED show and all that.
Clemson did too.
Bro, I'm telling you. Clemson, therefore, I haven't been to a straight up night game, but therefore by third and fourth quarter, it had gotten dark, so they threw some of the LED stuff up there. And that fourth quarter hype video, man, you want to talk about somewhere that gets loud. They threw the decimeters up, and it was like 120 decibels. That place was rocking. Do we know what time kickoff is yet? 3:30, I'm guessing.
12 o'clock.
Is it really? Oh,
that's what I said when I saw it. I was like, ugh.
Man, I hate noon games. Clemson hates noon games. I know Carolina hates noon games.
Roast.
But I understand why they'll probably have OSU and Michigan.
It's on ABC though, not ESPN. So
yeah. Huh. Well, it'll be good. It'll be a good game for Clemson, hopefully.
I think the game's gonna be close. That's all I know. I'm not confident enough.
I was gonna say
win.
Part of me won't. I mean, part of me thinks it'll be close. Part of me is like, we're setting ourselves up for disaster.
Just need to say, oh man, it's not even.
It's like the devil and the angel on the shoulder. I'm like every time I get a little excited, I temper my expectations a little bit, and then I'm like talk myself into being hyped again. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, we got this. Y'all freaking suck. Well, so
I just I've been on record before, and I just want to reiterate that I've seen a lot of fans that were like super against Rattler, and then after this week, they're back on the Rattler train, and I was never off. I said it was a lot of it didn't seem like it was his fault. It was offensive line. Now it all seemed to come together Saturday, but I don't think our problems. I don't think solely rely on Rattler.
Rattler didn't get rattled.
I think he has the talent to do great things.
He looked good. He made plays, kept plays alive.
Here's
he did what we expected him to do.
The key to not allowing Rattler to get into the groove is not allowing him to get to his third progression. If he gets to his third progression, third, fourth, fifth, boom. I mean, he's gonna find somebody. If you can get to him before his third progression, you'll for lack of a better word, rattle him. You can take him out of his game. But that's what I saw a lot of, watching back the game from highlights and everything else, is he was getting through those first, second, third, fourth, fifth progression and launching it.
So kind of speaking to that, so you could look at it one of two ways. So part of me thinks having such a good game for him, especially for him, because of all the stuff that happened at Oklahoma. I mean, it was a career night for him. That could give him the confidence going forward to be like, I can do that, like, to unrattle him, so to speak, in tough situations. But again, no pun intended, he could also get very cocky, and that be his downfall.
Well, and that's the thing to kind of remember in regards to Rattler is Rattler has not played in a Clemson versus Carolina game, or Carolina versus Clemson, however you want to say it. He hasn't been
Palmetto Bowl.
He's been in Oklahoma versus Texas, and he got taken out. He got taken out and replaced by Caleb Williams, who then became the starter for the rest of the season, left at the end of the year, went to Southern Cal with his head coach. So, track record shows when it comes to these big rivalry games, Rattler doesn't have a very good track record of being able to not be under pressure. But that being said, he showed up the other night against the number 5 team, country in the nation.
I'd like to know what just changed.
I mean, there was
what changed in a week.
Beamer came out because there was so many reports that came out that said Satterfield wasn't the one calling the plays, that it was a whole nother offense. And Beamer came out and said he can say what he wants, but nobody will know,
right?
He said it was Satterfield, but it was not the Carolina team I've seen at all this season.
The tempo, bro, like the playing with purpose, like it's in a week, 180.
They could have just got their feelings hurt by losing to Florida that bad. Just came out on a mission, but it was, like I said, I was almost tempted to just stop watching Full Gear and start watching the football game, because every time I pulled it up, I was like, I don't think I've seen Carolina play a whole complete game like this.
Yeah, it's almost a game I wish I watched.
I mean, they allowed Tennessee to score some points, but
they felt bad.
I mean, when you're scoring every drive, and again, they're still going up against the 5th ranked team in the country. Like you said, the number one offense. I mean,
where'd their defense rank?
Who?
Tennessee's?
At
the time of the game?
I don't know what they were ranked, but when I was,
but still Tennessee's number one offense to only give up, what they did.
And then it was really, I mean, that last touchdown, I mean, every point matters, but that last touchdown was, I think they just not let them, but, I mean, Tennessee really had one big play that just put them in scoring position when the game was over. I mean, Carolina essentially doubled Tennessee's point total.
I think
I mean, there's so many tidbits from the game where it was the most points scored by unranked team versus like a top 5 team in like college football history. It was the most like SEC points that Tennessee's allowed, like most points Tennessee's allowed against an SEC opponent in history. I mean, there's a lot of little things, but it was just a perfect storm, perfect sandstorm.
Ugh. There you go with the cheesiness. I think the
I see what you did there.
I think the Carolina Clemson game is going to come down to the leg of Jeter. I mean,
Well, let's not talk about let's not forget that Clemson has a senior kicker in the name of B.T. Potter, who's one of the top kickers in the country.
oh no, I'm not
In line
Short-
for the Lou Grozick Award.
not shortchanging. I'm just saying I think Carolina's going to have the last possession. And it's going to come down to the leg. That's how close I think the game's going to be. And then the game comes out, but that's 46.
I'll say I want Carolina to win. Just at least let it be a close game. Don't let Clemson come in and just blow us out.
Well, we're going in there, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, just
So total defense, Clemson is ranked 18. Total defense. Tennessee was ranked.
Well, this can't be good.
Not top 50.
but Georgia only scored how many points against Tennessee? I mean, how many points did Tennessee allow?
Well,
Like, what was the
Alabama scored 30-something. If you want to go that route.
Yeah, I mean, just say, like, what was the most points Tennessee's allowed before?
Tennessee is ranked number 100.
Perfect. All right.
So Florida scored 33. Alabama scored 49. Georgia scored 27. Pitt scored 27.
Gonna be a game. It's gonna be close. Elliot, you got a score prediction?
Score prediction, I'll say 32-18.
Johnathan?
See, you
Clemson.
could have gave me the spread. That's 14 points right there.
I'll say 35. I'll say 30-21. How about
Keeping
that?
it close. All right.
Well, I got to say, I mean, I bet Carolina would win, so I got to put Carolina up. I'll say 31-28.
On the leg of Jeter. You know, that's what my score prediction was going to be.
We're just,
So I'm gonna do.
what's up with us tonight?
I'm going to go.
You've had a lot of free time on your hands.
I'm going to do 35. I think we're going to be down when we make that kick.
Tennessee's number one offense.
Yes, they were. Well, might not be now. I don't know. 35, 34. Yeah, we're going to be down 2. We're going to win by 1. Just going to make it even sweeter. That's my prediction. 1 point Carolina victory.
I think we're up.
Come from
I
behind
think we're
field
up
goal.
31-28. Clemson goes to kick a field goal, and it's far left. Wide left,
from
wide
his,
right.
From his boy.
Clemson's 51 in offense. South Carolina 77 in offense.
Well, we were probably 100 before last week.
This is true.
Total defense. I'm just looking at total offense and total defense. Clemson's 18. We've already discussed that. South Carolina is no.
We don't do that stat. So 245th.
There's only 131. So
Exactly. Precisely.
131. No, not that bad. But
85.
oh, shoot! It's gonna be a fun game. Be a lot of text messaging going on. Did you see that?
I unfortunately have to work, but
Oh, you'll have it on at work. Ryan will have it on. You know the TV in the store? Yeah.
So that's
35, 34.
no. I don't think
That's my
that.
prediction.
I don't think South Carolina scores that many points.
If they have half the momentum that they did this last week, they will. Literally.
Defense wins championships. Offense will draw a crowd, but defense will win championships. And I think after only allowing 98 yards to
who'd y'all play again?
Miami,
What was Miami's offense?
looking right now,
131st. Just kidding.
their defense was 51.
This ain't the U from the 90s.
Their defense was number 51. And their offense was
132.
Well.
Please be lower than 85.
He's scrolling. 84.
85.
So tied with Carolina?
No. Y'all's defense was 85. Y'all's offense is 77.
Oh.
Their offense is 85.
I had that backwards. Okay. So you're saying there's a chance?
Like 1 in a million? Yeah.
So
Either way. I don't think me and Elliot actually made a T-bet, so that was the first
That leaves
one.
me off the
wasn't-
hook for a week.
That wasn't
Perfect.
necessarily the smartest bet by me, but yeah.
I will say,
It's a solid bet.
yeah,
I'm
y'all-
less confident about that bet than I've been about in most of the bets that I've made, but
yeah, I can't blame you.
I mean, at this point, I just need to owe him a T for giving me a place to crash every week.
Well, legit. Hey, man, like if Carolina keeps the momentum that they had this last week,
It's
it's
hard
a win. But
It's hard to do in an away game. I don't care where you're going. Taking that momentum on the road,
It is hard, but I think it's easier to do during rivalry week because you have a lot of different activities during the week to keep you amped and momentum going.
well, I would disagree with that, and here's why. Rivalry week is more for the fans than it is the players. The players, it's just another game to them. Savell even spoke to that when he was on
But that
the
doesn't
show.
mean every player.
And here's why I say that. The majority of players, Carolina and Clemson, Clemson's a team that they face every year. Currently has the leg up on them.
I think things changed when Clemson became a contender.
Well, Clemson doesn't just.
I'm
Clemson doesn't
a
just.
playoff contender.
Yeah, they don't just recruit from Carolina though. Clemson, I mean, they got. You got to think their starting quarterback and one of their starting wide receivers is from California. They can care less about.
So you don't think there's like
It's
extra
still
motivation?
an SEC team that the Clemson's playing. So I mean, they
Nah,
only
that
play
doesn't-
1 or 2 of those a year until
that-
they get to the playoffs.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So you don't think there's motivation? Do you think there's motivation behind any football team to know that, hey, if you beat this team, their dreams are dashed for the year?
I think there's motivation on Carolina's side. I don't think there's motivation for. The motivation to beat Carolina is not to beat your in-state rival. The motivation to beat Carolina is to have that chance to still contend for the playoffs. Carolina's motivation to beat Clemson is because it's Clemson. That's the difference. And it just so happens to be that they can possibly ruin Clemson's chance of getting into the college football playoff.
Yeah. I think it's the number one motivation.
And go ahead.
I was gonna say I think I think the rivalry game for players doesn't seem as important now in the last few years, but it wasn't. I mean, it's been a while, but I mean, Carolina Clemson rivalry has had fights and stuff break out. It's still a rivalry.
Last time you had that fight with Savell was quarterback. So, yeah,
but I will say it was funny watching Savell's Twitter feed on Saturday because like he's been very critical over the Gamecocks, and it was a lot of what some of the stuff that he was critical on all season. They changed on Saturday. I mean, they played Joyner a whole lot.
I've been saying this all year.
I mean, it was funny. I mean, there was people on his Twitter asking if he had the headset on calling the plays because a lot of what he was being critical of, I mean, it just seemed like they did the opposite, Saturday. So, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
somebody's listening.
Well, yeah. He's ruffling feathers somewhere, that's for sure. But no, I think the majority of the whole rivalry thing is for fans.
I think it's
to bicker back and forth. I don't think the players today, at least I'll say on Carolina's side too, because of how widespread the recruiting is now, where back in the day the majority was strictly South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, maybe Florida. Now it's Texas, California, New York. It's spread out so much that whole in-state rivalry thing has kind of lost its luster. I still think it's, Carolina and Clemson both say, hey, guys, this is our in-state rival. They say that they're the top university in this state. We need to prove that we're the top university type of thing. I'm sure the coaches use that type of jargon and try and get the players fired up. But at the end of the day, it's another game.
So I agree with that to some extent. I do think compared to back in the day, I mean, media availability, like social media and stuff. I mean, it's easier for South Carolina coaches to see players in California, and it just makes it. There are more players playing all over the country other than teams that from their state. But I think it's not just to the players. I do think it's more important, the rivalry, because it might be more for the fans, but I do think the players still care more than you're leading on, because I think it matters to the university.
So I separate those two. It matters to the university. Players just are there to play a game. But
a lot of them do take pride in where they play.
I'm sure they do. I mean, they take pride by wearing the colors and wearing the sticker on the helmet and stuff like that. But I don't think they get all, bent out of shape and everything else that comes with the rivalry that most fans do. I think at the end of the day, on Clemson's side, at the end of the day, hey guys, we got to win another game to make sure that we got to win. We got to win two more games. We got to win the game against South Carolina to make sure we control as much of our destiny as possible with getting to the College Football Playoff, and some things have got to work in our favor. And then we also have to win the ACC championship against the University of North Carolina.
Which I will say that I think South Carolina is a much more difficult opponent for Clemson to beat than North Carolina. South Carolina poses the biggest threat.
Maybe.
You just can't admit it. You just can't admit it.
I can't admit it. And the reason I can't, because right now North Carolina's lost one game the whole year. They're playing great under Mac Brown. So it's hard for me to admit that. SEC fans will say that because it's the SEC team, where I like to look at the body of work. I can't say just because an SEC school, whether they're 6-4 or 6-3, 5-4, 4-5, whatever, whatever the record may be, I can't say because they're an SEC school, they automatically pose a greater threat than an ACC school. It's just hard for me to say that when North Carolina's playing as good as they're playing. Now, that being said, I will say South Carolina definitely has a stronger strength of schedule than North Carolina has. But I'm also of the belief that if the more even teams you have in a conference to where it's not top heavy, the stronger that conference is, despite the win-loss records may not showing it. Like in the SEC, we know, well, and you can say it for the ACC too. For the ACC right now, you know Clemson's going to be at the top. Doesn't mean they'll be the number one in the top, because last year you had NC State, Wake Forest. You had North Carolina in that mix. North Carolina's been in that mix since Matt Brown took over. A couple years ago with Trubisky at quarterback, they were in the ACC championship. Pittsburgh's been in there as well. So you've had Pitt, you've had Clemson, you've had UNC, you've had NC State, you've had Wake Forest. As of late, Florida State is starting to pick back up with their new coach. So are these SEC, quote unquote, SEC caliber schools, according to ESPN and according to most SEC fans? No, they're not. I take bowl season as a prime example. Two years or so ago, you had all these SEC schools that were ranked big, and they ended up facing a lot of the ACC schools in the bowl during bowl season, and the ACC schools won. But SEC was still considered the top conference. For me, I'm like, well, why? If the ACC wins the head-to-head, why is the SEC still the top conference? I think that ended up being the year that Clemson beat Alabama second time around for the national championship. I feel like the SEC is top heavy. I feel like in the East, you have Georgia. You had Tennessee, but we've come to learn that, hey, Tennessee's beatable. Lost 2 games now. In the West, you got Alabama. You've had Alabama. LSU. Those are your top 2 teams in the West. You thought Mississippi was going to take a run. They lost to – who did they lose to this past week? They lost to somebody this past week they weren't supposed to lose to. But for me, primarily in the SEC, you always have the same 4 teams. At least 3. It's always Alabama, Georgia, LSU. So everything else is up for grabs. Tennessee had a good year this year. Good for them. Ole Miss is always right there at the top, but ends up losing out at the end.
Ole Miss lost to Arkansas.
Arkansas, there it is.
Arkansas at one time was also ranked in the top 10.
That's what I was about to say. Arkansas always starts out strong, and then 6th, 7th game of the season, they fall off. But their starting quarterback also got hurt. He's injured, I believe. But nevertheless, I mean, that's
to me that just shows that like any SEC team can pretty much beat any SEC team on a given week. ACC is like once you get that edge. I mean, it could be year to year, but once you get the edge, you're there.
To me, it doesn't show me that though, because you have the top 3 all the time. You have Alabama, Georgia, LSU.
But they're usually not undefeated. I mean, they usually have a loss.
That's not what I said. I said they're your top. When's the last time they weren't?
So I saw a graphic the other day. It was like the last 10 years, the East and West winner, and it wasn't as lopsided as you think it is.
Okay, you can throw Florida in there, and maybe Auburn.
On both sides. It really wasn't as lopsided as you think. Like, I mean, Missouri's been to the SEC championship twice since they've been in the conference.
What was that? The first 2 years?
I just know twice. I just remember seeing the numbers because it surprised me too. Because I also thought it was top heavy.
But my question is, who won? Who won the SEC? Because it wasn't Missouri.
It wasn't Missouri. I mean, Carolina's been to SEC championship once.
But that
They didn't win. Thank you, Cam Newton.
the past 5 years though, Georgia. 10 years is a long time. 10 years is since Dabo's been coach. Longest home winning streak in college football. That could be broken this weekend.
Please, God.
But I mean,
See, reason for players to want to play the game.
you know, this senior class has not lost a home football game for Clemson.
That would be amazing.
See,
That's something for the Clemson players to play for. That's something for the USC players to play for.
it's all about who wants it more, man.
Well, and skill.
Yeah.
You have to throw skill in there. Coaching. I mean, it's a lot. Take a long time to find that graphic, Johnathan.
Well, I didn't save it. I can't remember. I saw it pop up on my feed.
I think I saw the same thing, to be honest, though.
But it shocked me. I was reading it. I was like, I don't remember all that. And that, like, the comments were making fun about Missouri because they were like, when did Missouri get there? And I was like, I don't remember that either. But apparently it happened.
Yeah, I mean, we know we've had Florida. So, SEC championship the last 10 years. Alabama, Georgia. Alabama, Florida. LSU, Georgia. Alabama, Georgia. Georgia, Auburn. Alabama, Florida. Alabama, Florida. All right. 2014, Alabama, Missouri. 2013, Alabama, Missouri. 2012, Alabama, Georgia. 2011, LSU, Georgia. So LSU, Georgia, Alabama was the majority of these. And then you could throw Florida in, Auburn, and Missouri. So, but and that's nevertheless, it's going to be an exciting game this weekend. You know, we've mentioned the other couple more games that's got big implications and stuff. So,
And everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.
yeah, Turkey Bowl. You get to watch your Shane's Dallas Cowboys we mentioned earlier,
And the New York Football Giants.
and you also got Detroit Lions versus the Buffalo Bills.
That'd be fun. Go Bills.
And the night game is the Patriots versus the Vikings.
And you just had the Bills play in Detroit this past weekend because
The
Because
Vikings
the
are
blizzard-
so deflated, man. The Vikings are deflated right now. I think they're gonna lose again. So, what's everybody's favorite dish for Thanksgiving?
I'll tell you what, it's not turkey.
That puts me asleep.
So, well, I was gonna say, I love mac and cheese. So, like, good mac and cheese.
Blech.
But
Un-American.
I love
Communist.
turkey gravy and dressing on Thanksgiving more than any. I mean, like, I don't usually eat turkey, but, like, maybe because it puts me to sleep. Like, that's all I want to do is just eat a big meal and go to sleep, watch some football.
Mine's sweet potato casserole or souffle. Either one.
Marshmallows?
Nah.
Live without them?
Yeah.
Mine's scallop corn. Scallop corn's my favorite. I make it every year. It's delicious.
My aunt normally, so I won't get it this year, but my aunt normally makes some sweet potato casserole with crushed pecans and stuff on top.
She's a saint.
She is.
She is a saint.
I'm glad you said pecans.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody said pecans, we're going to flip this effing table.
Yeah. Butter pecan ice cream, pecan pie. Pecans.
I can tolerate that. Pecan.
Palmetto State.
It is palmetto. Yeah. Well,
Where's the palm trees? Where's the palm trees?
it's palmetto, not palmetto.
Perfect. Well, go get me a palm tree.
It's not. It's palmetto, not palmetto. It's pal, P-A-L, metto, M-E-T-T-O.
Okay.
It's a palm tree, but it's the palmetto state.
This argument seems counterintuitive.
No, that's what it is.
Okay. The word palm is the root of palmetto.
Wrong.
What? What do you mean wrong?
Wrong.
A palm tree and a palmetto tree are two different things.
I'm starting to. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
F.
But I still think it's palmetto.
Wait a minute.
But a palmetto tree and a palm tree are two different things.
I thought a palm tree was short for palmetto. I effing quit. All right. Hit the cue, Elliot.
Did you watch any good movies this week?
No.
No, his mind is F right now.
I'm so mad. No, end of this show.
Oh, man. You didn't know that?
I'm ending this show. I'm pissed.
He's out of here. I'll Google it off air.
I'm about to get up my phone over there and Google this for myself. I'm just in shock. The things you learn. I was today years old.
Yep.
Well,
Sorry, you're a Yankee.
My Southern family disagrees with you.
I didn't know you had one of those.
You been in my hometown? I'm far from a Yankee, bro.
I do agree. I do agree with that.
Touche. That's Amish country.
Oh,
There.
I had fun with y'all.
Well, guys, we hope you have as we mentioned just a minute ago, hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Catch some of these football games this week. Enjoy your wrestling. And as always, guys, we appreciate you listening. I am Elliot.
I'm Shane.
And I'm Johnathan. Go Gamecocks.
Go Tigers. And as always, let's keep it popping.